Yeah, hi all. So if you see in the previous session, we discussed about the business case studies. So today we will discuss about the PySpark. Yes, we all of us know that. So whenever we were in college days, it was like a C, C++, Java and all. So now when the big data come into picture for the data transformation, if you see the simple analogy that I can simply say that. So if you would like to process the data, so let me open Excel and let's see. So most of the companies in the world, they are spending lavish amount on the data process. From the times of COVID, so most of the people are running behind the data. So the data is important. So they can analyze, they can visualize, they can go for taking decisions based on the data and based on the analysis. So if you take Excel, Excel can handle the good amount of data, but it has some data limit. So if you want to process, if you want to transform the data, so it can handle 1 lakh or 100K data, 100,000 data. And if you go for the data flows, we know Gen 1, Gen 2, that which is used as a data set in the Power BI. So which is also capable of handling the data transformation. What is a data transformation? So you might have heard about data transformation. So most of the people say, oh, data transformation is meant for cleaning the data, data preparation. So if I ask them, so most of the people say making the data changes, data manipulation or data changes or cleaning the data. So this is what you know, but the thing is that when you get into the real time world, this doesn't work. Whatever you know about data cleaning, oh, you split the column by delimiter, you go for in Power BI. Most of you have seen it in the Power BI. So you can split the column. There are many transformation techniques available, upper, lower, extraction of the text from the column. Okay, these are all the transformation techniques, but we know till there. I mean, we know theory, and also we know a little bit about the practical that we worked on a dummy data. But the actual data transformation comes into picture when we work on the real-time scenario. And in the data flow, yes, we can edit the 10 lakh records, 10 lakh records or 1 million records. So the data flow also has some limitations. And the next one is database. Whatever the database that we are working on, it can handle 1 billion records. Okay, the data transformation. What is the data transformation? For example, if you see, so we have the data like, so if I can go for New York hyphen 24567. Okay, so we have the data. So what it has a combination of the state and the zip code, for example. And we want to split this column. So I want to see the state as a separate column and 23456 as a separate column as a zip code. Yes, for now, for 10 records, yes, I can be able to make the changes. Okay, it can be so simple. So I can split it around by using the delimiter hyphen. So in the data flow, yes, we can do that for 10 lakhs. For database, yes, I can split it. But the thing is that when we are trying to split the column, okay, we are going to get one extra column. Or if you want to have the existing column as it is and we want to see the state and the zip code separate column, so it needs to load the data. So it takes a lot of time to load the data when we work in the data flows or in the database to transform. Only what we are trying to do, we are trying to split only one column into a two columns. So if we do not know how many columns we are going to go for the data transformation. If we need to work on the multiple columns, we want to transform the data or prepare the data. So the database can only handle 1 billion records. Okay, so 1 billion records. But when we want to transform the data, huge amount of data, 10 billion, 1 billion, 10 billion, okay, and also we want to go for 100 billion records. So PySpark is the best. PySpark, which is a combination of Python plus Spark, so which is used for the huge amount of data transformation. So companies, we do not know how much data is generated. So the company can have the data from 2000 or 2010, 2015 till today, So what do we do usually? We put the data as a legacy data, and whatever the data that we have the last year, it is already loaded. So we do not load again and again. Okay, once the transformation is done, so that is applied throughout all the next data also. So that should be, so making the model in Power BI, what do? We build a model in Power Query Editor, so that it should be standard throughout all the, so it can be standard throughout all the data. Okay, most of the companies, they are running behind the Databricks. Okay, the most important thing when you want to become the Databricks engineer, okay, data engineer. So what do we need to do? So if you work in an organization and your work is as a data engineering, so out of 100 percentage, your work is going to be like 50 to 60 percentage on the Databricks, and the remaining 20% is on the pipelines pipelines, and 10% is to take care of the lake house, and the last 10 to 20%. So if you're also, I mean, so now we have like the designation or the role like analytics engineer. Okay, data analytics engineer. So your role is also to build the reports. So 10 to 20% would be like building the reports. Okay, so 10 to 20% is like building the report. So but why do we need to use the PySpark? Okay, so if you see, so the same thing, if you want to process the 10 million hospital admission records, so a regular Python loop would take hours. But the thing is that PySpark breaks that data into smaller chunks and processes all chunks simultaneously across all the machines, finishing in minutes. PySpark is simply Python code that talks to Apache Spark. So we have like, and also if you see, PySpark does not execute your code immediately. It builds a plan first. The plan only runs when you call. So it is like show, count, collect. I mean, there are different types of functions, commands that is available. And if you find the difference between the pandas is used for we can build the data frames, and we can go for which can be used in the data science. But the thing is that there is a limitation. So data side, it can only comfortable till 1 GB, maybe the count of records. So billions of rows, no limit, runs on a single machine. But in the PySpark, we have cluster of machines. So runs immediately, but it is until and unless we click on df.dataframe.show. Show is the command or a function. Until and unless we go for show, we will not be able to see the output. So syntax df column, but here what do we have? If you want to see the column, we need to use the function called as a select. So used in supported pandas, and it is the PySpark is supported in Fabric. Okay. So let me come down. What is the architecture in PySpark or in the Databricks? Okay. So if you see here, okay, simple architecture that we follow. So what do we have in here? So Azure Event Hubs, and the next one is Data Factory. So into the Data Factory, and again we have the data sources. So different types of data sources available. So each and every organization, they use their own data sources. So it can be SQL Server, or it can be Azure storage account, or Azure data, what we can say, SQL database. So that is being pulled any Salesforce or any HANA database, any databases, whatever the data source that is being used in the organization. First, that data source should get into the pipeline. Okay, that needs to be get into the pipeline. So once the pipeline, so what do we do? What is the usage of pipeline? The pipeline contains, I mean, the data factory in the Azure, we call it as a data factory that has the activities to automate the workflow. Okay, we can schedule the refresh, we can go for data ingestion from the different data sources, we can collect the data, and we can automate the task. So whatever the time that we want to trigger, we can schedule the refresh. We can also use it for mapping the data. So the pipeline, the data factory or the pipeline is used to collect the data from different sources. Yes, once the data is collected, then that is pulled into the next level. So that is, we have the Databricks. Okay. So what do we have? We have the Databricks. So what do we do in here in the Databricks? Whatever the data that we get from the data factory or the pipeline, we create a notebook. Okay, we create a notebook. Again, there are three layers in the notebook. In the Databricks, there would be like a three layers, and that is called as a medallion architecture. We will discuss in the further session. So there would be like a medallion architecture. So what do we do in the medallion architecture? Whatever the data that we are trying to get from the pipeline, okay, that is stored in that can be in the bronze layer. So bronze layer is like a raw data. Okay, raw. So complete whatever the data that we are trying to get. So it would be in the same format. In the source, whatever the format it is, okay, we can have it in the bronze. Even though we are trying to pull, I mean, for example, we did not map anything. We just, our task is to go for copy data activity, and we do not want to map any data, the columns. Okay, so what do? We directly go for bronze. Okay, yes, that is completed. The bronze is completed. Yes, the raw data is stored. We do not make any changes. And the next step is silver layer. Okay, what do we do in the silver layer? We go for data transformation. Okay, we go for data transformation. So what do? We implement any, if we have any problem with the data, or if you want to split the data, if you want to clean the data, we want to prepare the data, and if you want to join the tables. So whatever the changes that we want as per the business requirement, we go for changes in here. Okay, we go for changes in here. Whatever the concept that we learn in the SQL server, the joins, left outer join, right outer join, and the syntaxes that we have, we would be facing the same thing, similar things, similar syntax over here with a different syntax. Similar concept with a different syntax. Yes, the data is cleaned, and whatever the clean data that we have, we process into the golden layer. Okay, we process into the golden layer. What do we have in the golden layer? The clean data. Okay, these golden layers are used for, so we can implement the machine learning models in the golden layer, or this golden layer can be used in the reporting tools, Power BI or Tableau. These golden layers can be used for implementation of the machine learning model, so that the clean data, the machine learning models performs well. We can implement the algorithms, linear regression, logistic regression, random forest, decision trees. And there are different types of algorithms. So based on the requirement, based on the forecasting of the data, so we can use it. The main thing is that the silver layer is the important thing. So that is need for the data transformation. So what we can do, if we need to handle the huge amount of data, yes, we can handle, we can implement the transformation functions in the silver layer. Okay, this is the workflow. And after that, we can, you see Azure machine learning. Yes, we can implement, we can use the Azure machine learning, or in the Fabric, we have the ML models. And also the next thing is that Azure Kubernetes. So this is the architecture in the Databricks. So let me erase this and let us jump into the practical. No more theory. Let us go through the practical. How do we implement? How do we create? How do we get the data? And how can we go through the basics? Okay. So, yeah, hi all. Welcome to Data Engineer Analytics and BI. So in this session, we will discuss about the complete PySpark introduction. So usually in the Fabric, we already have the platform called as a PySpark. So let me click on any workspace, and we can click on new item. So this is the and we can click on notebook. But the thing is that in general, so out of Fabric, so most of the people they use the Databricks. So let us go through the Databricks Community Edition. Okay, type Databricks Community Edition and click on sign up for free. So this is a free version, free application, cloud application that we can go through it. So what do we need to do? First thing is to sign in. So to do that, so we can directly go for signing in, enter our name and details, or we can directly get continue with Google. So let me click on continue with Google and go with the same mail that we are using. And after signing in, so we need to click on, so who is the owner? Actually, we get, after signing in, we will get an option called as country. So we need to enter the country name where we are in and then click on OK. And also we get the puzzle before we directly jumping into that. So we will get the number of rock and a picture beside it. So we need to select whatever the number that we get, 4 and the rocks. Okay, we get the puzzle like 4 and later we get the image. So we need to scroll right side to select the rocks and click on this until we get the 4 rocks and click on OK. So this is, here we can easily log in. Okay, sign in. So what do we need to do next? Okay, the first thing is that we need to sign in. Okay, the first thing is that Databricks sign in, the first step. The second step is that, so go to catalog and create the volume. Create the volume. Okay, create the volume. So let's see how do we create that. So go to catalog. So here what do we see? We have an option called as create. Okay, so what do we do now? Let me click on create. And if you see, we have an option called as create a volume. Okay, click on create a volume. So here we can enter the volume name. So what is the volume name? So let me enter Medstream Healthcare. Okay, it is asking not to include any spaces. Underscore healthcare underscore PySpark underscore session. Okay, so what do we need to do next? The next thing is that we need to choose the catalog and schema. Okay, so let me click on the catalog and let me click on the workspace. Okay, click on the workspace and under the select a schema. So let us select the default because the information underscore schema is disabled. So let me click on default. Okay, the next thing is that enter the name of the volume and by default let it be the managed volume and we need to select the workspace as the catalog and what is the schema. Okay, so that is, I mean, it is just like the way we create the folder. Okay, so it is also the same thing. So click on create. Yes, the volume is created. Okay, so what do we need to do here after creating the volume? So we need to click on upload to this volume. Okay, what is the next thing that we need to do? Upload to this volume. So we need to upload our files over here to practice or to work on the projects. So let me click on the upload to this volume and click on browse. Select files. So wherever the files are there, we need to go to there. Okay, so let me select all these. Okay, admissions, billing, doctors, hospital, patients, and click on open. Yes, it is created. And let me click on upload. Okay, the files are uploaded. So once we click on upload this to this volume and the files are created. Yes, what is the next step? Okay, once the files are created, so go to catalog and create the volume and then we need to upload the files. Okay, the next thing is that upload files. Upload files. Yes, we uploaded that. So let us go to the workspace now. Okay, click on the workspace. Okay, the next thing is that click on workspace. You have an option called as workspace. Click on that. Okay, so you see we have shared, let me expand user. Click on the user. Okay, and what is that? Data analytics. So this is the username that we got. Click on that. Okay, now what do we need to do? Okay, now the next thing is that go to workspace. Under the workspace, click on the users. Expand the workspace. Once we expand the workspace, we get the users. Click on the users, we get our mail, whatever the mail that we signed with, and click on that mail. Now what we have got? So we got the new notebook. So what do we do? Now let us create the notebook. Okay, click on create. After that, once we get in here, click on the create. Once we click on the create, we have a lot of options. Folder, git folder, notebook, file query, dashboard, all these are options available. So let us click on the notebook. Okay, let us click on the notebook. Let me erase this. Now we got the environment, same as it is environment that we find it in the Jupyter notebook. So here also we have the same environment. Jupyter notebooks are mainly used for the data science, machine learning, and artificial intelligence. So here the Databricks mainly used for the data transformation. So what is a Databricks? So if you would ask me, so let me open the PySpark and let's see why we use Databricks. Okay. So what do? We deal with PySpark with the healthcare domain. Okay. So we have different types of CSVs that we need to pull it in here. And what is a PySpark? Simple, straightforward. So dealing with the data. The only thing is that the companies are facing. Okay, it's all about dealing with the data. So how do we deal with the data? So if you want to, so every time we need to go for, we do not expect the data to be cleaned. The data cannot be cleaned every time. So if you want to clean the data, or if you want to make any data transformations, if you want to prepare the data, so what do we need? We need different types of tools. For example, if we go with small data, so I can simply say 1 lakh records. Okay, 100K records. 100K records. Okay, so we can go for Excel, the legacy tool that we are been using from long back. So Excel can be used for the data transformation. What can be the data transformation? We can split the column, or we can make it case sensitivity. So we can do a lot of things in the Excel. So when we deal with the medium data, so we can go for 10 lakh records. Okay, so we can go for 10 lakh records. So what do we need to do? We can go for data flows. Yes, in Power BI we have the data flows. So it is just like Power Query Editor. Okay, query editor. And what do we have? If you want to deal with the huge amount of data, okay. For example, if you also deal with 1 billion records, okay, 1 billion records. Yes, database can handle. Okay. And if you are dealing with huge amount of data, like 10 billion records or 100 billion records. Okay. So we will go with the PySpark data transformation. PySpark data transformation. So what is a data transformation? So we do not expect the data, every data or all the attributes in a single table. So in the database, we have a different concepts like we have a schema, we have a dimension table, fact table, okay? And if you want to know about the dimension data, we need to join the tables, okay? So we join the tables, we split the data, we transform the data. Sometimes the tools, the on-premise tools or the cloud tools does not support for these kind of a transformation. When we have the limited data, yes, it supports. Excel data flows, database can do that. But the thing is that when we deal with the huge amount of data, so we need to go with the PySpark data transformation. So PySpark, which is a combination of Python plus Spark, and it is developed by the Apache Spark. So it's an independent tool. It's not with the Azure, or it's not with the AWS, or it's not with the GCP. It's an independent tool. In order to run it on the cloud, they are using Azure. Yes, Databricks is given to the Azure. Yes, I can tie up with AWS. Yes, Databricks can tie up with GCP. Databricks can also be called as a notebooks in the Fabric. So that's how the Databricks is evolved. Now, if you know, the Databricks evaluation is $300 billion, probably. So they started with 30 million. Now they are the humongous company in the world. The popular, you can search in the Google and you will get to know the most popular. PySpark is one of the most popular used programming language in the world. So PySpark is simply Python code that talks to Apache Spark. It runs on the Apache Spark, a powerful distributed computing engine. Okay. And what is the benefit? What is the huge benefit of the PySpark is does not execute the code immediately. Okay. It builds a plan first. The plan only run when you call. Okay. So it stores the data. For example, if we say we want to df dot whatever, we read the data until and unless we give the command or the function dot show, we will be able to see the data. So this is called as a lazy evaluation, and it is why PySpark is fast. So data size, yes, you see, no limit. Runs on single machine. When we compare with Python, PySpark versus Pandas, Pandas also used for defining the data frames, okay, which is mainly used in the data science. And if you see, runs on a single machine, Pandas, and PySpark cluster of machines. Execution runs immediately, but it does not run immediately. Builds the plan first. Syntax df column. Df is data frame, which is shortcut. It is called as a df. And now here it is df underscore select. So used in the Fabric, yes, it is supported, and native, it is recommended. Okay. So this is what we have it in the PySpark. So Spark session is the starting point of every PySpark program. So we will see how do we make this. Okay, we will see how do we read the data. First, what do we need to do? So we need to read the data. Okay, yes, we got here, if you see. So let me also click on table of content. I can expand. So what is the workspace? Yes, this is the workspace that we are in. And the next one is test. And the last one is catalog. Whatever the data that we pulled in here, click on the catalog, expand the workspace. And what did we put? We put all, we stored all our data. We created, when we tried creating the volume, okay, we selected the default, expand the default, expand the volume. And now you see, Medstream Healthcare PySpark is the name that we gave. And if you see, we have all the CSV files. Okay. So now if you see, this is the cell. So we can give the name. You see what we are able to see when I click on the one, add a cell title. Okay. So let me write PySpark session. Let me write PySpark session. And let me click on this. Now you see, we can select the Python and SQL. So when you suggest anybody to learn what is the programming language to learn, or what is the what is the tool that they want to learn, I suggest when you move into the data side, SQL is the one of the most important tool, most important query language that we use regularly, SQL and Python. I suggest SQL. So that's how we will go. And if you see, we can expand this and we can select the environment, whatever the environment that we want. And we can select the title. And this is to run the cell. And now it is by default, it is on the Python. So what is the next step? We can start typing. So it is so simple if you want to see. So we can directly print. Okay, let me directly go. If you want to print anything and double quotes, say hi. And for executing the cell, either we can click on run cell or you see control plus enter. Let me click on run. So simple. The way we have Java, we need to write. So what is that void space? Okay, we need to write some code in the C language to execute something. Here it is straightforward. We can directly run it. Okay, we can directly run it. Let me rename this notebook as PySpark session. Okay, let me click on enter. Yes, now it is saved as a PySpark session. Now let us go through the first thing. Okay, let me click on. We can click on code or we can click on the text. Okay, so let me make it test. Okay, let me make it test and let me click on code again. Okay, okay. And one more, what is the beauty of PySpark is whatever the code that we write, it is readable. We can easily understand. We can, I mean, whatever the language that we have, English language, the functions, okay, similar to that, we will have it over here. Okay, similar to that, we will have it over here. The next thing is that now let us go for, okay, setting the base path. Okay, base path. So let me click on enter. What is the base path? We can type, we can have the path over here. What if we can define the path. Okay, so if you see under the workspaces, we have the under the default we have all these the data. We want to read each and everything. Okay, let me put it over here. We get what is the path over here. Okay, volume, workspace, default, Medstream healthcare PySpark session, / admission.csv. So we can pull it and we can get the path. Okay, or let me click on the three dots and you see copy volume path. So let me copy volume path and let me paste it over here. We get the path. Okay, so what is the format of the data? It is CSV. But for now, what do I do? So let me define the path. Okay, let me define the path. So here what we can do, base path, okay, base underscore path equal to, so what do we do? So either I can drag it, okay, or you see now we are getting some suggestions. Let me click on equal to, okay, are we getting, yeah, now you see. So spark.sql if.database if exists, okay, it is asking us to create something, okay, create a database if does not exist. Okay, now you are able to remember something from the other programming language. Yes, it is a readable format only. The only thing is that / or single quotes, double quotes, or what is that if, okay, if function, something spark.sql. If you want to enable the SQL, spark.sql. So now what do? We need to define the path. Okay, base path is meant for defining the path. Okay, let me write define path. Okay, so here I can copy this. Go to three dots, copy the volume file path and paste it over here. Okay, enter the codes. Okay, the only thing is that whenever we try to enter anything, okay, remember that any programming language you can't directly give it like that. Okay, we need to mention it in the double quotes or the single quotes that it understand, okay, this is the path they are giving. Okay, so now what do we need to do? We need to read it. Okay, we need to read it. But before that, let me click on the code. Before that, let me not directly jump into there. First, let me enter the sample data. Okay, after that, we will go through sample data. And after that, we will define the path and how do we read all these files. First, what do? We define the path, then we read it. Or we can do it in another way. Okay, so what we can do? We can go for DF, okay, data frame. Okay, DF underscore. The first thing is that admission. So let me write admission. Now you see, we are getting the suggestions. Admissions, DF underscore admission equal to spark.read.csv base path comma read header equal to true comma, infer schema equal to true. Now you see df underscore admission dot show, df underscore admission print schema, count, select, oh, we are getting all. Okay, so it understood what we are trying to do. Okay, it has some intelligence. But now let me go for ADM equal to, for our understanding, what do we need to do? We need to write. How do we read the file? Okay, Spark dot read dot, what is the format of the file? CSV. Okay, what is the format of file? CSV. Open the bracket. Now we can go for entering the base path. Okay, entering the, now you see whatever the parameters that we want to enter. Okay, optional string equal to none. Okay, quote, union, bool, string equal to none. We have infer schema, null, optional. So all these are implemented, but for now, whatever it is required, we will enter that. Okay, whatever it is required, we will enter that. How do we read it? How do we read the file? Okay, df is the name that we need, that we will store something in it. The way we have x equal to 10. X is the variable which stores the number 10. Okay, and what is that entry point? Spark dot read. Okay, Spark is the default, read is the function, dot, what is the format that we are saying? Okay, this one is important. Okay, tell Spark it is a CSV or JSON or Excel. Dot options. What is that option? Whether we have the first record as the header or the, or general normal columns. Okay, or what do we do? First row as header. So here option, yes, header is a true. Yes, first row is a header, or we already have the headers. And what is that? Load path. In the path, we need to enter the, okay, under dot load, we need to enter the file path so that it can easily read. What is the syntax? Spark dot read dot format dot option. This is not mandatory whether we can enter or not. But the thing is that we are explicitly explaining that, okay, header is true. Yes, we have the headers. Dot load, what is the path name? Okay, this is how we need to enter that. So let me erase and let us go over there. Let us see the same thing over here. Okay, so what do we do? Let me, oh, where is that? Where did it go? Okay, so let us enter again. df underscore adm equal to Spark. Okay, tab, enter the tab, dot read, click on the tab, dot, okay, format, enter, open the bracket, double quotes, CSV dot option. So here what do we need to enter? Header, double quotes, header. Now you see we are getting the suggestions. Okay, header, comma, true. Okay, here what do we need to enter? Either we can go for entering the path. Okay, here we can go for entering the path, or what we can do, we can enter the general one. Okay, we can enter directly, we can enter the path. Okay, so now let me enter. Did we define the path? Yes, we did not define the path. Let me click on entering. Oh, what happened? Missing field, base path. Why it is missing? Okay, or let me do one thing. Okay, so we can also go for another way of reading. We have different types of reading the data. Okay, so what we can do here. So let me not execute. Let us directly go in here. Header. So header true. Let me go for CSV. Okay, CSV. Open the bracket. So here what do? I will enter the path. Okay, click on three dots, copy volume path, and in the double quotes, let me enter it. Okay, let me enter it. And after entering, what do we need to do? We need to execute this. Okay, let it run. Let it run. Yes. Now you see but we are not able to see the output. Okay, if you see df underscore ADM, but we are not able to see the output. So if you remember, it is a lazy runner. Okay, lazy execution. Why it is a lazy execution? Until and unless we give df underscore ADM. Okay, if you want to see the data, what do we need to do? Now you see we got all the files. Okay, all the functions over here. Okay, you see group by, and what do we see? First filter, fill nulls. Okay, so we have all limit, and if you see we have pandas dot underscore API. So what do we do? Let me go for show. Okay, let me go for show and click on execute. Now we will be able to see the data. Okay, now we will be able to see the data. Now we will be able to see the data. So what do we see here? We are able to see the complete data, but we are not able to find out what is what. Okay, whether it is what is that? Let me scroll down. Okay, we read the data. So what do we get? We get the top 20 rows. Okay, we get the top 20 rows. Read data. Okay, we get top 20 rows only. Okay, this is how we read the data. Spark.read, what is the format and what is the option? Yes, header, comma true, and what is the .csv? Yes, here we are giving the CSV. If it is a JSON, .json, and this is the path. So this is how we read the data. Okay, now let me click on, if you want to enter the text, let me click on the text and we can write what is the text, space. Okay, I can go for writing any text. Okay, sample data. Okay, sample data. Now you see we got the sample data. Let me double click on it. When we enter one more hash, so hash defines the size. Now you see size is decreasing. So click on one more, size is decreasing. Click on one more, size decreasing. So sample data. So let me go for writing read sample data, or let me go for defining. Okay, make data frame. Make a data frame by reading sample data. So here we defined the data. Okay, here we read the data, but what do we do now? So let us define the sample data. So how do we define the sample data? Let us see that. Let me click on the code. Okay, here what do we do? Let me go for writing sample data. What is the usage of it? Okay, when we are working on the multiple cells, okay, on the right side you see, okay, on the right side we have a small toggle over here. Okay, you see this. Okay, what do we do? When I hover over it, I'm able to see what is the Spark session. I can click on test. I'll be directing towards that test. Let me click on this sample data. Okay, now we are jumping into, okay, going through that cell only. Okay, let me click on this. Let me enter sample underscore data equal to, let me enter the square bracket. Okay, so whatever the sample data that we enter, remember that enter it in the square bracket. Open the normal brackets. Okay, now you see 1 comma 2 comma 3, it is giving some examples to us. Okay, enter ADM. So enter the data. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to define the admission data. Okay, whatever the admission that we are trying to define. Whatever we have, ADM 300, patient 7001. So we are trying to define it in a different way. Okay, we are trying to build the data frames by using this format. Okay, so whatever the data that we enter, we need to enter it in the bracket. Let me go for giving the comma. So let me enter the pat hyphen. So enter the number, patient ID, and now let us enter Apollo. So Apollo multi-speciality, okay, hospital, comma. So let me go for the cardiology. So what is the domain or the department? So what is the status? Emergency, comma, and what do we have? So we also have the status like critical, whether it is a critical or whether it is a normal or only the consultancy. Okay, so we can go for writing critical, critical, and close the bracket, or we already have closed the bracket. So this is how we enter the sample data. Yes, we enter the sample data, but what do we need to do? Define the columns. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to define the columns. We have the data, we enter the values, but we need to define columns. Okay, define columns. So how do we define the columns? Let me directly enter the columns equal to, so let me open the square bracket, enter the column names as, oh, you see, we are already getting admissions ID, patient ID, hospital name, department, admission type. Okay, so let me enter the tab. Yes, we got it. And also let me enter the tab again. Yes, now we got the status. Because why did we automatically get? Because it read the data. Okay, when I open the catalog, when expand the workspace default under the information, under the volume, okay, this is the session, it read the data. Whatever the columns it has, it read the data. Okay, that is the reason we are getting the suggestions. Okay, that is the reason we are getting the suggestions. Yes, we defined the columns. Either ways we can go for it. We can define the sample data or we can define the columns. Yes, after defining the columns, what do we need to do? We need to, okay, we need to map these columns to this data. Okay, mapping the columns to data. Mapping columns to sample data. Okay, let me click on enter. So what do we do? df underscore sample equal to, so what do we need to do? We need to create the data frames. Okay, this can be done. Okay, this can be done by creating the data frames. Okay, creating the data frame. What is a data frame? In general, when we see the data, okay, in general, how do we read the data? So it would be feasible when we see the data in the format of tables. Okay, it is so simple to read when we see the data in the table format. Okay, in the table format. So what do we need to do? We need to build the data frame. Okay, spark dot create data frame, spark dot create data frame. Now you see the syntax. D is capital, F is capital. We need to be the same thing. But don't worry about this. What do you say, the syntax? We get the suggestions. Create data frame, open the bracket. Okay, what do we need to do? Now you see it takes sample data, comma, columns. Okay, let me click on the tab. Yes. Now you see automatically we got df underscore sample dot show. Let me click on run the cell. Okay, now you see we got patient ID, patient, okay, admission ID, patient ID, hospital name, but you see Apollo multi-speciality hospital, it did not give the hospital, the complete name. So in order to do that, okay, what do we need to do? We have an option called as truncate. Okay, it is getting truncated. Okay, the Apollo hospital multi-speciality hospital, word hospital is truncated. What do we need to do here? So in order to see the full name, so we have truncate equal to false. So we need to enter truncate equal to false. Okay, so by default the truncate is enabled. Okay, by default truncate is enabled. So what do we need to do? We need to mention that truncate is equal to false. Now you see, now we are able to see the complete name, Apollo multi-speciality hospital. Okay, this is the way of reading the data. Okay, either we can define the columns first and enter the sample data. Okay, enter the sample data. Now let me copy paste directly. So we already have that. Let me click on the code. Okay, let me paste it over here. Okay, let me click on run. So you might have thought, okay, we already entered this, we already read the data. Okay, again, we are trying to enter the sample data, but it contains, okay, it contains 3001, the first one. Don't we get the duplicated data? Okay, it overwrites. Okay, it overwrites. When we run, it overwrites because we are trying to enter it in the same data frame. So that is the reason it overwrites. If we want to make this as it is, okay, let it be in the same data frame. What do we need to do here? We need to enter it in another data frame 2, data frame. So when we enter like this, whatever the data that we entered over here, it would be stored in the data frame sample 2. Okay, data frame sample 2. If we enter another data in the same data frame, always remember it overwrites. Okay, always remember it overwrites. So this is about reading the data. So now let me come down. Okay, click on code. Or if you want to enter any text, yes, we can enter the text. Now, if you want to explicitly, okay, if you want to explicitly enter the schema, okay, I'm telling you this word schema, but let's see that. Okay, so let me enter the schema definition. Automatically, okay, it is just the word detect data type. Okay, automatically PySpark recognizes the data type. Okay, based on the data that we gave. Okay, based on the value that we gave. For example, when we try to enter without the quotes, only the number, it can easily understand, okay, this is, okay, this one is the number data type. When we are trying to enter the complete data in the single quotes, it understands that, okay, I'm going to read this as text data type. Okay, there are different types of data types available. So let me enter that. Let me get that data types. Just a second. We have the data types. Yeah. So one more thing to remember. Okay, one more thing to remember. Okay. So one more thing to remember is that, so in pandas, oh sorry, in Jupyter notebooks, okay, in pandas, NumPy, when we work on the Python, what do we do? So there are 200 plus libraries available in the Python for data science. So whenever we need to work on anything, so what do we do? For example, we are working on the mathematical calculations. What do? We pull import NumPy as NP. Or when we are trying to work on the data frames, calculations and all, when we go for import pandas as PD. Okay, we are trying to import whenever, whatever the library that we need, or we are working on the visualization. What do? Matplotlib dot library, something like that, or SciPy, NumPy. So we will try to pull only certain libraries into the Python. Okay, and what do? We work on that calculations. We pull those functions. So here also it is the same thing. Okay, so when we try to, we every time, okay, in PySpark, we do not directly pull all the functions at a time. There is no libraries, such a thing that, okay, the group of functions are under that library. No, it is not like that. We need to mention whatever the functions that we want to pull. Okay, what we are trying to do here. So these are all the data types. So we are trying to mention from PySpark dot SQL dot types. We are trying to import these data types. Okay, if you want to define the data types, we need to enter. Definitely, we need to enter. We need to pull the data types. Each and every programming language has its own data types. Okay, number, numeric, text, string, Boolean data type, date and time data type. These are all the common data types, binary data type. So here, if you see string type, okay, integer type, long type, short type, byte, float type, double type. Okay, what are all these? String type, yes, it is straightforward. It is a string data type. Okay, text data type. In the layman terminology, it is a text data type. Integer is a number data type. In the integer, again, we have long, whether it is we are dealing with a huge number, short type, smaller, byte, whole number, float, decimal number, double type, more precision. Okay, after the point 0.22, okay, it is a float type. 0.25353545, it is a double type. And again, decimal type, exact decimal, $4.99, $5.99. The point after the number after the point which is already defined, two numbers only, exact numbers, three numbers only, we will go for decimal type. Next, Boolean, whether it is a true false. Date, only date. Timestamp type, date plus time. Array, list of values. Map, key value pair. If you see, in the Python, we have a special data types, list, tuples, dictionary sets. Okay, it is a map type. So which is a combination of key value pair. And this is important. What is this? Struct type, struct field. Okay, when we try to define the schema, okay, in SQL, oh, it is so straightforward. What do? Create a table. First, we create the database, create a table. And then what do? We create integer. Okay, we go for entering the column name. After the column name, we define the data type. After the data type, we define the constraint, whether it is a primary key, foreign key, not null, something like that. Okay. Here, what do? We, in order to mention the schema type, what do? We go for structure type, struct type. Remember, struct type. It is a structure type. Okay. Struct field. The way we have column, okay, column, after that data type, okay, we are trying to define it in the column, the specific column, then it is a structure field. Okay, struct type is the broader way, applies to the table. Struct field applies to the column. Remember, what is that? Struct type applies to the table. Okay, struct type applies to the table. Struct field applies to the column. And the next one, binary type raw. Okay, binary zeros and one. And null type, whether we want to explicitly give something like it is a null. Okay, so we can go for allowing the nulls. So this is about the data types in the PySpark. Now let us define that. Okay, what do we need to do? Now let us define the schema definition. Okay, how do we define the schema definition? Let us see that one by one. Okay, what is the first thing that we need to do? Define the schema. So let me enter define schema. So what do we need to enter? So as usual, from, oh, now you see, it understood what we want to enter. It understood whatever we want to enter, and it is giving us the suggestions. But let us know. So let me enter manually from. Okay, what is that? PySpark.sql.types. Okay, import struct type, struct field, string type, integer type. Let me enter the tab. Okay, let me enter the tab. And now if you see, we are also getting the double type. Okay, we need to define that. The way we define in the SQL, it is also the same thing. Okay, it is also the same thing. Let me take this off. Okay, double type, or if you want to enter any other data types also, we can enter after double type. Let me enter. What do we have? Whether we have, yes, we have the struct type, struct field, string type, integer type, double type, and also if you want to enter any other Boolean type, let me enter Boolean type and close the bracket. Only the whatever it is required. Okay, it is like you are in a buffet. Okay, you are in a buffet. Eat whatever you want, but you can't eat whatever you want. You need to define. It is not buffet, it is a la carte. You order what you want. Okay, here also you import what you want. That's it. Do not import all the data types. Whatever it is required to our data table, import that only. Okay, what is the next thing? Let me enter. Okay, let me enter the table name. Okay, what is the table name? For now, let me go for admission underscore schema equal to, okay, equal to. So here what do we need to enter? Struct type. First thing is that structure type. It is like schema. Okay, it is like schema. So let me enter struct type. Struct type. Open the bracket. So what do we need to enter here after the struct type? Okay, let me enter the, okay, it is already giving, you see, even if you are trying to commit the mistake, it is asking us to rectify it immediately. Okay, open the square bracket. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about the syntax. Okay, it gives you the suggestions. It is like a map, GPS map to you. Even if you try to go in a wrong direction, it gives you need to go in a right direction. Okay, so what is that? Next thing is that define the struct field. It is like defining the column. How do you can't directly define the column stating that column name, data type, or what do you say, the constraint, the way we define in SQL. We need to explicitly say struct type and again struct field. Okay, struct field. Okay, we are not able to get that. So let me enter struct field. Okay, struct field. Now you see we are automatically getting admission ID, comma string type, comma true. Okay, so let me open the bracket. Yes, I want to do the same thing, but let me enter admission underscore ID, comma. For this admission, what do you want to give the data type? Admission ID is the column name. The next thing is that data type. Next thing is that whether the nullable do you want to give. Okay, it is like, okay, let me enter string type. Okay, string type. String type. Let me enter the tab. Open the bracket. Close the bracket. Comma. Okay, comma. So here we need to define whether we want to have the nulls or not in the admission ID. Okay, it is like defining the constraint. Okay, primary key, foreign key, not null, unique. The way we define it here, what do? We define whether we want admission ID to be null or not. What do we say? Nullable equal to false. No, I do not want to see the nulls in this column. Close the bracket. Comma, enter. What is the next thing that we want to define? Okay, patient ID. Okay, we are all automatically getting. Let me click on the tab. Whether I get yes. Oh, let me click on the tab again. We got one more. Okay, let me click on the tab again. Okay, let me click on the tab again. And now you see it automatically identified. Let me click on this again. Now you see what we are able to. It automatically read. Okay, it is not only reading the data CSV file, it is also reading your mind. What do you want to go for the next thing? Okay, it read it. These are all the columns existing in this table. Okay, let me scroll down. Okay, if you see, okay, what do we have here in the admission? So when I run the admission, do we have something in the admission? Okay, this is not the admission. Okay, this is the data that we have it in the admission. Okay, string type nullable equal to false. Okay, I do not want to see the false. But the thing is that, okay, it is automatically identifying. Okay, everything is a string type. Okay, department string, ward string, bed number. Bed number, do we need bed number as a string? Okay, we can have it. Okay, status, length of the stay, number of days, we are getting string, but we do not want the string. Okay, change it into integer. Okay, treatment cost. No, treatment cost money. It should be. If you want to go for INR or if you deal with the dollars, we want to see it in the double type. Double type. Why? We want to see the numbers. After the point, we want to see the number. Blood group, yes, string type. Log timestamp. Okay, string type. Yeah, for now, let us go with it. Okay, string. Yes, string. Everything is string. Whatever the changes that we want to make for the number data type, we gave the number data type. Yes. After that, what do we need to do? We need to read the file. Okay. So, but here it is not a CSV. Okay, here it is not a CSV. Okay, dot schema. Okay, dot schema. Open the bracket. Admission underscore schema. Yeah. Okay, let me have the same thing. Admission. Okay, let me enter the same name. Admission underscore schema. Okay, we are telling that. Okay, this is the schema. dot option, enter option, open the bracket, header equal to true. Let me enter the tab whether we get, yeah, header equal to true. Okay, dot csv. What is the file? What we are trying to do actually, already we are trying to change the schema, existing schema into the correct way. Everything is stored as a string. We are trying to change few schemas, few data types into the integer or whatever the respective thing. Do not worry about the schema. Schema is a data type. Okay, it's like you are defining. Okay, you are defining someone's character. Okay, he's strong. Okay, he's lovable. Okay, if you see the genres, okay, love, comedy. If you watch the movie comedy horror, okay, the way we have genres, okay, different types of genres, okay, love, comedy, okay, the way we define the movie when we watch any movie, oh, you see, we are getting the suggestions, you see, romance, action, thriller. Let me click on tab. Okay, the way we see all these, okay, when we define the movie it as falling into this genre. So here also what do? We are defining, already it is defined as, so it is defined as the text data type, okay, string type. But what we are trying to do, we are trying to make the respective data types. Yes. After that, what do we need to do? Yes, we can show truncate equal to false. Okay. Let me remove this. Let us have only this. Okay. So we read the data, and after that, what we are trying to do? We are trying to show the data, and what is that? Truncate equal to false, which is like show me everything. Do not hide the text. So it is giving some data, invalid syntax. What is admission? Okay, are we making any struct type? Struct type, open the bracket. Why? Boolean type, import Boolean type. Are we making any mistake? Let me check. Okay, we are missing the brackets. Okay, let me click on run it. Okay, still we are getting the invalid syntax command line 4. Where is line 4? Let me go here. 1, 2, 3, 4 admission underscore schema. So what is the error? Let's check the error. Admissions. Oh, okay. So we have admissions underscore schema. Let's see whether that is causing the issue. Admissions underscore schema. Is that causing the issue? Do we need to open the brackets before that? Close. Genie code. Let me click on this. Let me ask, what is the issue? Let's check. Don't worry about the thing. Okay, we automatically get, okay, the suggestions over here. Okay, the syntax. Okay, admissions underscore schema. You cannot split an assignment like this. Okay, it is saying that you cannot split. Okay, what it is saying? Okay, it is saying that you enter it in the struct type above. Okay, what is that? Let me click on this. Oh, where is that? I'm not able to click. Okay, let me click over here. Oh, we already got it. Let me click on accept. Okay, and let me click on run. Okay, now we got the output. Now you see how wonderful it is. Okay, so it is saying that do not enter the struct type in the next line, indentation. Enter it in the same line, admissions underscore schema. Let me close this Genie code. Oh, you see, Genie is helping us. Okay, each and every programming language we have the inbuilt Copilot or agent AI. Okay, we need to use that and create something. Okay, work on the query, work on the data. Now you see What we are able to see, admission ID, admission, okay. But the thing is that it is not properly aligned. It is not the table view, okay. And also we are able to see the complete data. For example, if you only want to see the few lines of code, okay, if you only want to see, or we want to see the schema, okay, we want to see the schema, df underscore adm. Oh, you see, we automatically get, I think it is hearing me, df underscore adm. Okay, let me click on the tab. Oh, sorry, adm dot print schema. Okay, close. Okay, and what do we see? Show truncate equal to false. We want to see only the first 3 rows or 5 rows, 3 comma, and click on execute. Okay, what does it take? It only shows the number of records that we want. The way we have top 10, top 20 in SQL. So we have dot show, 3 is the number of columns that we want to see, and truncate equal to false. We want to see the entire. Now you see the what is the schema? Schema admission ID string, okay, length of the days integer, treatment cost double type, blood group string, and log timestamp is string. Now we are able to see only the top 3 records, 30001, 2, 3. Okay, so this is about the reading the data. Okay, so I would compare it with SQL so that it would be easy for us to understand and also easy for us to read. Now you see, what do you understand? It is easy to read. Okay, so Park SQL dot types, we are explicitly saying, okay, what do we do for the kids? Okay, so we show the cat and say, okay, this is cat. We show the dog and say this is dog. So here also we need to say, okay, I want this, I want that. Whatever you want, you get it. Don't worry. So there are how many number of, oh, where is that? Yeah, here if you see, okay, how many number of data types? There are many, maybe 10, more than 10 data types. Okay, let me click on markdown. Okay, there are many, but what we are trying to do, we are not trying to pull all. Only required columns, required functions are pulled over here. Okay, required functions are pulled over here. Let me make it into say code only so that we will do not execute. So yes, there are 2 things. The first thing is that struct type, that is structure of the schema. And under the struct type, we have struct field. Struct type is defining the structure of the schema outside. Struct field is for the individual columns. Okay, and we defined what is the column name and what is the data type and whether it is a nullable equal to false or true. Whether we want to insert the nulls or in future someone try to insert the nulls, it does not take. So that is nullable. And if you see from the data set, what do we have? We have everything is as a string. Then what we did when we went with length of the stay days, so we made it into integer. So we are trying to convert typecasting the columns. Treatment cost double type, so which is the decimal. And after that, what we did, we read, okay, the admission CSV, and we printed the schema by print schema. So what is a schema? Defining the data types is the schema. Defining the structure, it is like a blueprint of the data in the database. I can simply say in the SQL terminology, in the database. So how do we connect to other tables? Okay, so that's also important. And also we can show it. So this is how we did. And we can truncate the data. I mean, we can go for giving the number of records by giving the 3 so that we get top 3 records. So we have the function top in the SQL. So we will also use the same thing here. Now let us continue the same thing. So let me click on the code, or I can click on the text. Then we can go for the next session, continuation of the next session. So what do we do now? So we will try to read another columns or another data that we have. Okay, another tables. So let us go for reading the hospital data. Okay, let me type hospital data. read hospital data. And let me click on enter, shift enter for loading or execution or running of the cell. So what do we do now? df underscore hosp. Okay, I can just give the data frame name as df underscore hospital equal to. So what do we do? The simple and straightforward if you want to read the data. So now you see it is already automatically giving us the query or the functions or the commands that we want to use. Spark.read.options. Let me click on tab. Okay, we got it. Okay, let me click on tab and let me also click on tab again so that we are able to see what is that spark.read.option. Okay, so what do we need to do? So header equal to header true. Yes, the first row is the header. Okay, so if we do not put this, we will get column 1, column 2, column 3 as the header names. So if we put header true, then we get whatever the columns that we have, we will get it as headers. Option infer schema. Infer schema is, okay, what is infer schema? Infer schema is meant for detecting the data types. Okay, if you remember from Power BI, so we have an option called as in Power Query Editor, we have an option called as detect data types. When we select all the columns and click on detect data types, what does it do? So as per the data available in the columns, it is going to detect, it is going to give the data type. So here infer schema means, okay, automatically detect data types. So what we are trying to do, we are not trying to here in the previously we have specifically mentioned the column names, the data type, whether it is a nullable equal to false or not. Okay, we define the structure type and we define the schema. Here we do not want to define the schema. We are saying that infer schema true and .csv read the file, hospital file. Okay, and after that dot show truncate equal to false. Again it is reading. Okay, we can ignore this. Don't worry about this. Let me ignore this. Okay, so what do we do? So let me click on run the cell. Okay, let's see whether we get the hospital data or not. Okay, let's wait for a couple of seconds. It is loading. Okay, so let it load, let it load. Yes, now it is loaded. So now if you see, we got hospital ID, hospital name, city, state, type. So total number of beds available and rating. So I do not want to, so let us go for it. Or if you want to see the schema, so we can go for df dot hospital. Okay, so what we can do here, dot print schema. Okay, print schema. So let me run this. So let's see what is the data types that we are going to see. Print schema is, we will see the type of, okay, now you see, we did not define. Okay, you got one question. Oh, what about the bed types, bed available ratings, whether does it take it as an integer or something else? You thought that it is going to take the text data type or the string data type. Now you see the type beds total, it is integer, beds available integer, and rating double. So double type is like taking it as a decimal point. Okay, so this is reading the hospital data. Now let me click on the text again. Now let us read the patient data. So here let me also name in place of 11. So let me go for writing hospital data. Hospital data. Okay, here let me go for giving. Okay, double click. So here let me write patient data. Patient data. So here let me give the cell number, cell name as patient data. So let us go with reading it again. So read patient CSV. Patient CSV. So here what do we do? as it is df underscore pat, okay, equal to. So here let me go for writing spark dot read, okay, spark dot read. So every time what we are trying to do, so we are not able to see. For example, if I expand this, okay, if I expand this, I'm not able to see what we have it after this. Until and unless I copy it in the notepad or something else, I'm not able to see. For example, it is enabled. Okay, this window or this navigation is enabled. So what do we do now at this point of view? So if you have knowledge of other programming language, if you want to get into next step, okay. So what do? We click on the backslash, okay. Enter, click on enter, and what do? Dot option, okay. Dot option, and it is giving us header equal to true. Let me click on. Now you see what we have. We are able to see. Let me click on the tab. I think you understood what we are trying to do. The next thing, okay. We are trying to read the patient data. If you want to get into the next step, okay, use backslash, okay. Use to get into next step. Next step. Okay, it is not taking the way it is. Let me go for adding it into the second line. Okay. Now, if you see, we got, okay, the second step. So we are getting error. Why are we getting error? Let me check. Unexpected character after the line, continuation. Why? Spark.read option header. Okay, yes, that's right. Infer schema. Yes, that's right. CSV. Yes, that's right. But why are we still getting? Is it the indentation? Let me put it to the left side. No, still we are getting. Let me click on enter. Okay. Let me click on execution. And let us ask this. Let us ask the genie. Yes, we have the genie. Okay. So let me copy this. Don't worry about the code. We have the genie. So let me click on this. Okay. So what is the issue? So we are going to get, okay, let me click on accept. Okay. So everything, it is saying that everything should be on the same line. Okay. Everything should be on the same line. So that is the reason it is giving us. So what do? Let me click on enter. So let me put it over here. Okay. Now let me execute this. Let's see whether it works or not. Yes. So it worked. Now, if you want to show that, what do? So we just click on enter df.show and let me restrict it to 3 records only. And let me click on enter. Oh, sorry, df.pat. And let me click on execute this. Okay. So now we are able to read this patient data. The next step is that read the billing. So let me directly copy this. So why do we need to go for reading it? So let me click on the text or let me click on directly the code. And here let me write billing data. Billing data. And let me paste it over here. So simple way. So what do? Instead of patient, what do? We just write billing. So what is that? Let me go and check it in the workspace. Default, volume. Let me go for this. And what is that? Billing. Yes. Simple, straightforward. BIL, billing. Oh, sorry. Billing. So here let me write df underscore bill. And let me also copy this directly. Bill. So let me take this and paste it over here. And let me click on run. Yes, the billing data is also loaded. Okay, the billing data is also loaded. So now let us jump into the next concept. Okay, select the columns. Okay, so if you see, so we have multiple columns available. but we do not want to use all the columns. Okay, so what do we have here? If you see billing, the insurance claimed, payment status. Okay, there are multiple columns available, but we do not want to have the multiple columns, but we want to select a specific column. Okay, select specific columns. Select specific columns. Let me click on enter. Now let me click on the code. So here what do we do? So let me write specific column. Okay, so if you want to enter the specific column, okay, so in other programming language, basically in the SQL, what do we do? There is no need of worrying about it. Whatever the columns that we need, what do we do? So instead of select the star from the table name, okay, table name, or we can select the columns, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4 from table. Okay, this is the way we write it in the SQL. But here it is little different. Okay, so what do we need to use here? So we need to use, okay, now you see it is automatically selected. It understood, okay, it automatically gave percentage SQL. So what do we need to do here? We need to import, okay, we need to import the call, okay, the function call. So as we discussed in the earlier session, in the previous session, now you see we are automatically getting the from PySpark.SQL.functions import to call. Let me click on the tab. Okay. So whatever the libraries or whatever the functions that it is not built in. Okay. We need to call the functions. Okay. So that's how it works. So whatever we need to call those functions. Okay. So what do we need? Select the specific columns. Okay. Select the specific columns. So let me go for df underscore admission. Okay, df underscore admission. So what do we need to do if we want to select the columns? We have a function called as select. Okay, select, open the bracket. Okay, select, open the bracket. So let me write admission, admission ID. Automatically we are getting the number of columns. And let me go for taking the patient ID. Okay, we are getting the suggestions. Let me click on the tab, comma. And after that, let me go for taking the department. Out of all the columns, I want to select only few columns. And after that, let me go for selecting the status. So here, let me directly write, instead of writing again and again the next line df underscore adm dot show. So here, let me directly go for writing show 5 columns, 5 records only. Let me click on enter. Okay. So what we are getting adm. df underscore adm is not defined. Okay. Let me go here. So maybe when we opened it, it did not understand. So here, what do? ADM, let me click on run the cell. Okay, because we opened it today, so there is no continuation. It is like turning off the server. Okay, what do we need to do? So we need to load that again. Remember that. Okay, now let me click on the run. Yes, it is running. Now, if you see, we got admission ID, patient ID, department. So how do we select the columns? So we can select it by using the function called as a select. Okay, df underscore adm dot select the number of columns that we need to do. And if you want to directly see the data, we can directly put dot show. So 5 represents the top 5 records. It doesn't mean that it is going to sort ascending order or descending order. It gives the top 5 records. Okay, don't worry about the sorting of the data. It does not give something like that. So it gives the output. That's it. Okay, so so the next thing is that, for example, we want to go for giving the alias naming. Okay, alias naming. Alias naming. Okay, so what is that alias naming? Don Sino alias Dubai Sino, something like that. Okay, so what do we do if you want to go for aliasing the data? So we can't directly use, okay, in SQL, what do? We use AS. Okay, so we can go for giving the count as the number, for example. Okay, count as numbers or visitors. So we go for using AS for aliasing the data, aliasing the column name. But here it is different. Okay, here what do? We go for giving the function alias. Okay, so how do we do that? Df underscore, let me go for writing df underscore, okay, ADM dot select, okay, dot select. So here what do? We can directly go for calling call, okay, call admission ID, okay, admission ID, and what do? Dot admission ID dot alias, okay, alias, open the bracket. Now enter the new name, okay, now enter the new name. So let me enter admission number, admission underscore number, okay, and the next one comma. So let me click on enter. So here what do? So let me enter the call and patient ID as, okay, or hospital name as hospital, for example. Let me just go for hospital name. So here let me click on tab, enter the com dot alias, okay, open the bracket. So let me enter hospital, just a hospital, hospital, and again comma, enter call, open the bracket, treatment cost underscore INR. Okay, let me go for taking treatment cost underscore INR dot alias. Just we can go for writing treatment cost or cost, okay, cost underscore INR. And what do we need to do? Close the bracket, dot show. Okay, let us also go for giving the only first 5 records. Now, if you see, we have admission ID, patient ID, department status. Let me click on execute. Now, if you see, so we got admission number, hospital, and cost INR. And both of them are, and we are trying to run both. So that is the reason we are getting both. So if we do not run this, if we do not keep this show, we will not be able to see this first data, first output. So this is about the selecting the specific column and also giving the alias name. Okay, so what do we use? We use the function called as alias. And for selecting the column, we use select function. And we specifically mention the column. Okay, we specifically mention the column. Now let us go for the next thing. Okay, now let us go for the next thing, filtration of the data. Okay, filter in the data. So let me go for coding. Let me click on code. So here let me write filter. So that why do we need to write this? So because when I go to the right side, I can get the suggestions. Okay, if you see, so whichever the cell I want to go, I named it. Okay, if I want to see the sample data, I can click on it. Now you see, I redirected towards the sample data. And when I hover over it, and when I go click on the filter, yes, I come to the cell wherever I want to see. So this is. So how do we filter the data? For example, let us go for filtering the critical patients. Okay, filtering the critical patients. For example, let me go for, so what do we have? Let me see only the admission. So what do I do here? Dot show. Dot show. And let's see what kind of a data do we have. Let's see. So here if I go, what do we have? We have admission. So we are not able to see the, okay, let me take this off. So status admitted. Let me scroll down by clicking on this, admitted, in treated, discharge, okay, critical, in treatment, critical. So what do we do now? So let us filter for critical, only critical. I want to see the data only critical. So in order to do that, okay, in order to do that, we have a function called as, we use a function, filter function. Okay, we use a function df underscore critical equal to, so what do we do? Df underscore ADM dot filter, okay, open the bracket. So we mention the column, call, what is that? Status, okay, status equal to. So what do we do in general? In other programming language, we just go for writing equal to and we enter critical. But here it is not like that. So if you want to enter equal to, So we need to enter the double equals. Actually, in other programming language, double equal is meant for strict equal. Okay, strict equal means, okay, equal to means it should also match. Okay, it should also match the decimals, decimal points. Okay, 0.22, yes, it should match 0.22. But here it is what? So we need to enter double equal to. Okay, but why double equal to? Because x equal to 10, which means 10, x is holding the 10. But here if you take status equal to just single equal to critical, means status is holding the critical text, critical variable. So that is the reason we do not go for single equal to. We go for double equal to. Okay. Now let me click on df underscore critical and show. Okay. Let me click on run the cell. Okay. Did we get? Let me check. Or let us go for taking only 3 records. And let me also go for taking. So if you want to see the number of count, okay, df underscore critical dot, or we can also go for writing like print the number or the count, critical patients or critical admissions. Critical admissions. Okay. So what do? We go for comma. So here what do we write? df underscore critical dot count. Simple, straightforward. df underscore critical. Let me click on the tab and let me click on the run. So we get the count of critical patients. The critical admissions are 10, and we also got the number of records. Okay, the status is 10. The status is critical. So this is how we filter the data. So you might have got one more question. So if you want to filter multiple columns, okay, filter multiple columns. Let's see that. Let's see. Filter multiple. Filter multiple list. Okay, multiple list or variables. So let me write variables. So I want to see critical and, okay, critical emergency. Okay. So if you want to go for the multiple, so we can also go for what do you say? Using the AND condition. We know, if you remember, so we have two operators. Okay, logical operator. Okay, logical operator. In the logical operator, what do we have? We have AND condition, OR condition. So what is AND condition? Okay, if two statements are, okay, if two statements are true, okay, then output is true. Then output is true. Else everything is false. Okay, everything is false. Everything is false. This is AND condition. If you remember, when in our college days, we used to read, okay, now you see it automatically giving OR condition. If one statement is true, then output is true. Everything is else false. But let me define it in another way. So if you remember true, true, okay, the output is true. Now you see true, false. Oh, I'm sorry. So now output is true. Oh, let me click on the tab. Oh, yes, now you see. So what is this? I'm really mesmerized to get such kind of a, what do you say, the suggestions. So if you see here, true, true, if two statements are true, remember, AND condition, one of the most used logical operators in every programming languages. Okay, AND condition. What is AND condition? If two statements, if two conditions are true, the output is true. One of the condition is false, then the output is false. Simple to remember. Okay, so this is AND operator. Next we have OR operator. What is OR operator? If two statements are false, then output is false. Then output is false. Okay, else true. So I can simply say any one of the statement is true, then it is true. Let me click on the tab. Okay, so what is this? True, if you see these three. Okay, so True, true, it is true. True, false, true. False, true, true. Except false, false is a false. Okay. These two logical operators are mainly used to filter the data. So what do? We mainly use it to filter the data. Okay. So we mainly use it for filtering the data. So based on the conditions, any condition that we want to go for checking the data, so we go for it. Logical operator, comparison operator, arithmetic operator. Okay. So we have all these. So let me go for the next thing, code. So here, let me go for using the filtering the data. Okay. Filter emergency and critical. Emergency and critical, both are emergency critical. Critical. So what does it mean? I want to see the data which has emergency, also critical. Okay, emergency, also critical. So here let me write df underscore. So df underscore high risk, for example, because critical and emergency, both of them are high risk. High risk equal to, so df underscore adm dot filter. Okay, adm dot filter. So here what do we do? So let me go for opening the bracket, call status, call, open the bracket, status, status, okay, equal to, equal to. So what do? We write critical, critical. And after that, what do? We go for writing the and condition, ampersand symbol, open the bracket, call, okay, admission type, admission type, okay, equal to emergency. Okay, equal to emergency. Let me click on the tab. Let's see what we are going to get. Okay, so what we are trying to do, we are trying to filter. Okay, that is the reason we were not able to get the suggestions. What we are trying to do here, okay, we are trying to filter the data. First thing, we use the filter condition, the status equal to critical. Okay, the first condition, admission type equal to emergency. When both of them are true, okay, if these two conditions are true, we are going to get the output. Yes, we have the status equal to the data, critical, and also we have the admission type as a emergency, then we get the output. If both of them do not have, if there is no status critical and no admission type emergency, we will not be able to get the output. So let me click on run the cell. And let's see whether we are able to get it or not. Okay, let me take this off. Okay, dot show. Okay, we already have it. So let me take this off and let me click on the run. Let's see whether we are able to get it or not. Okay, so this error might be caused by the Python error. Okay, let me take this off. Okay, the last execution is failed. df underscore high critical. Okay, filter call. So what are we doing here? Enable type checking in the developer. Attribute not supported. Status equal to critical. Okay, let me only run this. Okay, df underscore admission dot filter. So whether we have it, df underscore admission. Yes, we have it. So let me copy this. Okay, so df underscore, okay, call. Okay, so what we are trying to do, okay, it should be mentioned in the complete, what is that? In the braces. Okay, so we opened the bracket for this critical. Okay, this bracket is meant for critical. This bracket is meant for emergency. But what about the filter? Let me close, let me open and the close the brackets. Let me click on execute. Yes, now we got it. Okay, do not panic when we get the errors. Okay, what do we need to do? We need to understand whether we are opening and closing the brackets or not. Okay. So what we are trying to do? So we are trying to see the status equal to critical and admission type equal to emergency. So let me come down. And if you see, admission type is emergency and the status is critical. For example, if I go for writing any other, admission type is not equal to emergency, or admission status is not equal to is something else. In critical, if I go for writing anything, okay. So what do I do? So what do we have? Admission type planned, for example. So here let me write planned and let me click on execute. Okay. Yes, we got planned and critical. Okay. We are also able to see planned and critical. For example, if I do not go for planned, or if I see admitted in treatment, okay, in treatment, let me take the status as in treatment, because I want to show one of the condition is false. Okay, one of the condition is false. In treatment and call. Okay, we also have planned in treatment. Oh, why are we getting this? And condition, let me write. Okay, now we do not have and condition. So we only have the ampersand symbol. So let me click on execute. So we are getting admission type, status in treatment. Okay, status is in treatment and admission type is planned. Yes, we are able to see that. Okay. So if two of the conditions, if any one of the condition is false, then we will not be getting the output. So that is the simple and straightforward condition. So this is for filtering the two variables or list of variables in here. But the thing is that you would ask, okay, you would ask me if you want to go for filtering multiple variables. Okay, filtering multiple variables. So how do we do that? Okay, filtering multiple variables. How do we do that? Okay, so what is that filtering multiple variables? List of variables should be filters. Okay, list of variables should be filtered. What does it mean? Okay, so in SQL, what do we do? For example, if I want to filter, there are many countries. Countries equal to 20 countries. But I do not want to see the complete data of country. I want to see only few countries: USA, UK, okay, Germany. Only 3 countries of data, for example. Okay, only 3 countries data. But always I cannot use the or condition and see the data. Okay, always I do not want to see the or condition. For example, let us go for filtering the data for something like this. Okay, so let us go for writing the department. Okay, let me take the department. Where is the department? Admission department. So let me take this dot show. Okay, dot show, and let's see whether we have it admission or not. In the admission, whether we have the department or not. So admission ID department. Yes, we have the department. Okay, I want to see the cardiology and pediatrics. Okay, pediatrics and neurology. Generally, what do? We go for it in another way, filtering the data in another way. So what do I do? Let me copy this. Okay, let me copy this. For saving some time, let me copy this. So what is the thing that we are taking? Department. Let me copy the department. What we are trying to do here, we are trying to filter the data department equal to, okay, where is that? Okay, let me check. Let me scroll up. Okay, so let me go for department equal to cardiology. Okay, cardiology. Yes, cardiology. Let us go for some other nephrology or gastroenterology. Okay, here let me copy here. Okay, so in place of, if you want to see both the data, so what do? We go for or condition. Okay, or condition. And also if I want to go for filtering another one, what do? I will go for, okay, I will go for call. In the department, what do? Nephrology. Let me also go for filtering the data for nephrology. And let me click on dot show. directly. I do not want to write again and again. So let me go for clicking on dot show. Already we are trying to filter the data, but I do not want to give any value over here. Okay. The column object is not callable. Why? Department nephrology. Okay. Maybe it is not. Okay. Let me click on execute. So that may be due to the indentation. Okay. That is maybe due to the indentation. So what do I do? So let me go for taking. Okay, we missed it. Okay, one thing we missed is or condition. Okay, or condition. If you want to go for the next line, let me go for giving that. Okay, now we are able to see the data. So what we are able to see, only cardiology, gastroenterology, and nephrology. Let me come down. Okay, so we are able to see these three filters. But if you want to go for more than three, more than four, or list of the data, so how do we deal with it? Okay, so we deal by using ISIN. Direct to straightforward. Okay, so whether it is in or not, we generally use the terminology in our day-to-day life, is in. Okay, so what do we do here? We directly go for writing. Okay, let me copy this till here, department. Okay, department dot ISIN. Okay, so what do we do? Dot ISIN. Okay, ISIN, open the bracket. Okay, what do we do? So here, let me go for taking, copy this cardiology. I would like to go for taking the cardiology. After that, comma. So let me go for taking gastroenterology, nephrology. Yes, let me click on the tab. Okay, let me click on the show. And let me click on run. Let's see whether we get the output or not. So we are not getting the output. Unterminated string literal detached in the line 1. Okay, we are getting one error. What is that error? Let us see that. Okay, so what we have got, we used to filter. This is the first one. Okay, now if you see here, we got one. Let me click on just one. Yes, now let me click on enter. So single quote is repeated twice. So that is the reason we got it. Now you see how simple it is. So what do we do in general in other programming language? If you take in the SQL, so we use quote. Okay, we write something. Okay, column 1, comma, column 2, comma, column 3 in SQL. Okay, for example, if you go for Power BI, so what do we use? We use flower bracket. Okay, column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay, column 1, column 2, column 3. Okay, it is giving in a dictionary, but column 1, column 2, column 3. So here what do we use? We use direct straightforward. What we are saying, what did you understand from here? Okay, simple straightforward. Filter department. If the department is in cardiology, gastroenterology, nephrology, show me the data. Okay, show me the data. Okay, this is about the filtering the data by using ISIN function. Okay, ISIN function. So let us go for the next step is, okay, let me click on this. For example, we want to use something like, okay, I do not know the complete text. Okay, don't know the complete text, but I want to filter the data. I want to filter the data. Okay, for example, okay, yeah, based on the partial name. Yes, it is giving based on the partial name. So what do we do? In SQL, we use the pattern matching. Okay, pattern matching. What is that pattern matching? By using the like operator. Okay, here what do we use? We use a function called as contains. Okay, contains. What is that contains? Let us see that. Okay, for example, I would like to go for seeing the data only has, okay, I want to see the data which has the Apollo, okay, Apollo hospital only. Okay, Apollo hospital. But I do not know whether it is Apollo hospital or Apollo something else. But what do? I will directly go for df underscore Apollo. df underscore Apollo. So what do I do? Equal to, so df dot, okay, df underscore adm dot filter, okay, filter, open the bracket, okay, open the bracket. So what do we need to mention? The column name we need to mention. Column hospital name, hospital name, okay, okay, hospital name, okay, dot contains, okay, dot contains. So here let me enter the starting text or ending text, okay. So let me go for Apollo, Apollo, okay, dot show, okay, dot show 5, or let me go for the same thing, dot show, and let's see whether we get it or not. Yes, now you see. So we got the data which is filtered for Apollo multi-speciality hospital, but we are not able to see it. So in order to see the complete data, truncate equal to false, okay, truncate equal to false, false, and let me click on enter, run the cell. Now you see we got the complete data, Apollo multi-speciality hospital. Now let me click on the code. Okay, let me click on the code. So now what is the next thing? The next thing is that comparison operator. Comparison operator. So how do we compare the data? So if you see, so there are many multiple, in any programming language that we take, there are many operators, arithmetic operator, comparison operator, logical operator, so text operators and all. So here the comparison operator is like less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. So we can go for less than, greater than, it is like a not equal to, or we can also go for exclamation equal to is also not equal to. Okay, so these are all the operators. Okay, and double equal to is also the operators. So what do we need to do? Let us go for implementing. So if we can go for filtering the data for, okay, filter the data for treatment, okay, treatment greater than 50,000. Okay, so let us filter the data. So the treatment cost which is greater than, let us see the columns, let us see the admissions, or let us see the hospitals which has more than that, okay, more than 50,000. So let me go for entering. Always remember, first we need to go for having the data frame. Okay, so this is the goodness of, this is the goodness of you see, df underscore expensive. Okay, now it understood. Okay, the treatment greater than 50,000, it understood what we want, what we are expecting. Okay, so what do I do? So let me go for writing df underscore adm. I'm just ignoring that. If you want to filter the data, we directly use the function called as a filter function. Open the bracket, we give the column name. Okay, open the bracket. So what do? We go for treatment. Okay, click on the tab. So come out of the bracket greater than 50,000. Okay, greater than 50,000. And now we have got the data. So why do we need to use column? Okay, so previously, why can't we use normal just treatment greater than 50,000? But why do we want to use the column only? So when we go for rounding the data, okay, if I go for rounding, same thing, treatment equal to INR. So this treatment is not treated as, okay, this column will not be treated if you do not use call. So we are trying to explicitly saying to PySpark, okay, treat this as a column. It's not a normal text. Okay, it is not a string data type. Okay, string. So it is a column. We are explicitly saying to the PySpark that treatment cost underscore INR is a column. Do not treat it as a general text. Okay, do not treat it as a general text. So that is the reason we will use column. Now what do we do? So let us go for writing the print. Open the bracket. So let me write high cost admission. Okay, high cost admission. So what we can do? We can go for taking comma. So df underscore expensive. Okay, df underscore expensive. We can go for the count. Okay, we can go for count. And what do we do now? Next thing. So we do not want to see all the columns. So if I go for df underscore expensive show, Okay, df underscore expensive show. So if I click on this, and let me open the bracket and close the bracket. Now if I click on this, so we will get all the columns. Okay, now if you see, the name call is not defined. Okay, the name call is not defined. Every time when we go for using any functions, okay, what do we need to do? We need to define that, okay, or we need to import the data, import the functions. So here let me click on enter. So what is that? Import. Okay, import, sorry, from PySpark, from PySpark, okay, from PySpark dot SQL dot functions. Okay, SQL dot functions. Let me click on tab, import call. So whereas when we go for pandas, numpy, or in the data science, if you want to import the libraries, what do we do? Import pandas as PD. Okay, or what do we do next thing? Import numpy. Okay, numpy as NP. So we directly do like this, import. There is no something like from or something like that. But here what we do? We explicitly mention that I want this. Okay, from PySpark.SQL.function in this functions. So there will be a lot of functions available. Okay, so what do we need to do? Whatever we need to import that. That's it. So now let me click on run the cell. Okay, now let's see what we are going to get. So we got something like the value 1021.43 of the type string cannot be cast to big int. Okay, so we are getting error stating that it cannot be casted to the integer. Okay, so what do? We need to cast it. Okay, we need to go for casting. So what do I do? Instead of taking a double quotes, let me go for taking a single quote and let me click on execute. Okay, still we are getting the same thing, df underscore filter 50,000. Okay. So let me click on, where is that? Genie. Okay, whether we get casting. So what do? We try comparing, we try casting, typecast. So let's see what it is going to give us. Don't worry about the syntax. We can directly go for syntax. Okay, we can directly ask the Genie. Now, if you see, we got it. Okay, so let me go for, okay, let me click on accept. Okay, let me click on accept. Filter call treatment greater than, okay, display df underscore. Let me click on this. Let's see what we are going to get. So the value 1024 of the string cannot be casted to big int. Okay, I think, yes, we did one mistake. Okay, so this is what we are dealing with. We are dealing with the admission. Okay, so when we go to admission, okay, I don't know whether how many of you have identified or not. So in the schema definition, okay, what we did, so we made this admission, where is that treatment cost to double integer, double type, okay, decimal. What we are trying to do over there, so we are trying to greater than 50,000. So when we are doing that, we are getting error. So now let me click on run. Okay, so that, okay, yes, it read. Now what happened? Now the treatment has become the decimal point. Now let me go down, okay, to the last cell, and now let me click on run the cell. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Now you see we got the output. Okay, so do not panic when we get the output or when we get the error. So what do we need to do? We need to think, okay, why this, why did we get the error? Okay, we need to understand. So it is, we got error like typecasting. Okay, the string cannot be converted to the big int. Okay, integer string is the text data type is not able to convert it into the number data type. So this is what the error that we got. In the interview also, we get some questions based on the errors. What kind of issues did you face while working on the PySpark? Okay, you can explain this. So now we got we have compared the data, but we do not want to see all the columns. So what do? I will go for writing only specific columns. Okay, so what do? dot. Okay, if I want to select the specific columns, what do we do? Select, open the bracket. Now we can select the columns that we need. Okay, let me have the admission ID, comma. So admission ID, hospital name, comma. So we can go for department, comma, and the status. Now at the end, let me go for show. I do not want to see all the columns, all the records. There are 20 or 30 records. Let me go for expecting only 5 records. And let me click on OK. Yes, now you see we got admission ID, all the data. Okay, we got, if you see, these are all the hospitals and these are all the department. These are all the status that we are getting more than. I mean, we are not able to see, the main thing is that treatment cost is not able to see. So what do? I'll go for treatment cost so that we get to know, okay, this is what the number. Yes, now you see more than 50,000. So this is, and also if you want to go for the less than also, we can also get less than. Okay, so we will get the result of less than 50,000 rupees. Okay, now you see we got less than 50,000. And also we can go for less than or equal to. When we have a specific, okay, we will also get less than or equal to. So this is how the comparison operator works. Okay, the next thing is that, let me click on the code again. So the next thing is that add column. Okay, add new columns. So simply I can say text functions. Okay, text functions, or by using the text functions, we can add the new columns. Okay, so let us go with the text functions. So in any programming language that you take, there are many text functions. What are all the text functions? So if you want to go for the case sensitivity, okay, case sensitivity, we go for upper lower functions, or we want to extract something from the data, or we also have the date functions. Okay, date functions, or we can also format the dates. Okay, year, month, quarter. Okay, or so we have the format like year, day, month. Okay, so we can also format that. Or if we have anything like the leading or trailing spaces, okay, before and after the text. Okay, before and after the text, what do? We use a function called as trim. Okay, we use the function called as a trim. And we also have, when we want to implement the condition, okay, we want to implement the condition and create one more column. Okay, another column. Okay, for example, if you see the treatment cost, we want to create one more column like, so whichever are greater than, okay, whichever are greater than 50,000, make it as a high treatment cost. So in between 20 to 40,000, medium treatment cost. Less than 20,000, so we can create another column based on the conditions. Okay, we use when function. Okay, we use when function. And also if you want to round the decimals, okay, so we have the number like 154.43454, something like this, but we do not want to see the complete 5454, the complete number after the decimals. We want to round this off. Okay, what is that? 154.55 or 154.54, something like that. Only take the decimals. Okay, only 2 or 3 decimals after the point, 2 or 3 decimals after the point. So we have all these functions available. So what do we do now? Now let us go for from PySpark. Okay, from PySpark dot SQL dot functions. Okay, SQL dot functions. So let me import whatever the required text functions or whatever the column. Now you see we are getting the suggestions. Okay, import. Let me open the column. So COL column, comma, LIT, comma, upper, comma, lower, comma, trim, comma, when, comma, current timestamp. Okay, current timestamp, comma, to underscore timestamp. I mean, if you want to convert anything, okay, we do not have a function called as format function. The same function, format function, we have it as a to underscore timestamp. Okay, to underscore timestamp, comma, date format. Now you see we have a function. It is not a specific format function, but we have a function called as a date format, and the last one is round. Okay, last one is round. Okay, what we are trying to do, we are trying to get all these, okay, get all these into the from the functions, okay, from the PySpark. Okay, so what is the next thing? So let us go for add a fixed constant column. Add a fixed constant column. Okay, so I would like to add something like the column. All the hospitals belong to India. I want to add a static column called as a India. Okay, that, or I can add something like country India. Okay, what is our agenda? Add a column country which should replicate complete India. Okay, which should replicate complete India. So what do I do? So let me write, okay, df underscore ADM equal to, okay, df underscore ADM equal to df ADM dot. Okay, so what do we need to do? So we need to write with column. Okay, with column. Okay, we need to write with column. So let me hover over it. What do we see? So definition, parent data returns a new case class data frame by adding a column or replacing the existing column. Okay, so what is this with column? Adding a call, adding by adding. Okay, it adds a data frame by adding a column or replacing the existing column that has the same name. Okay, if you want to replace or if you want to add anything, we can add the column. Okay, with the column. So what do we need to do? Country. So we are adding the column country. Okay, we are adding the column country. So let me write lit, open the bracket and enter India. Okay, enter India. So let me click on df underscore ADM dot show. Okay, dot show. So let me only go for taking the 3 rows. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Let us see that. Okay, it is executing. Now, if you see, we got the country. Okay, we got the country, but I do not want to select all the columns. What do? I will go for only selecting these columns. Okay, I will only select these columns. Okay, df dot select. Okay, here let me write India. Let me go for taking only India. Okay, so dot show. We are only trying to select only few columns. So why are we not getting India? Okay, country status bit number, the column variable or the function parameter with India cannot be resolved. Is it the same df underscore? Yeah, it is the same thing, but why are we not getting? ADM admission ID, hospital name, department status, India, comma, treatment. I think we may be using the. Yeah, yes, Madhavi, please tell.
It's not India. You should write country as the column.
Country as the column. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes. Country. Yes. Now let us go and click on run the cell. Yes. Good. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to take the variable from the column country, but the column name is country. So this is how we enter the column. Okay. This is how we enter the column and we can select the columns. Okay. That's wonderful. So this is what we are trying to do by using the lit function with column. Okay, if you want to add something in the column, so we use the function called as with column, and we are trying to enter the column name as country. And what do we need to see the column? India. Okay, everything. Yeah, now you see in the output country India. Okay, this is off. This is taking a constant column. The next thing is that let us go for the direct straightforward thing, upper and lower. Okay, upper column and lower. Okay, how do we do that? So let us go for writing. So let me take the same thing, df underscore with column. Okay, df underscore with column. Okay, so what do we do now? So let us go for writing upper and lower. Let us implement the upper column. and lower column, and let us see how we are going to get. Okay, df underscore ADM with column. So let me go for writing hospital name. Okay, let me go for writing hospital name. Okay, or let me go for taking the new column with column. When we go for taking with column, upper is the column name, and we use the function called as upper, open the bracket, column, open the bracket. And what do we need to do here? We need to enter the column name, hospital name. Yes. And what do we need to do? So either we can store it in the df underscore upper, okay, equal to, so we got it. And after that, what we can do? We can go for df underscore upper dot show, and let us only see the top three. And let me click on OK. Okay. Now, if you see, we got, where is that? Okay, we are not able to see all the columns. So what do? Let us only select the specific columns. Okay, let us only select the specific columns. Okay, so what do we need to do? We also need to include this. Okay, let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get output or not. Just give me 1 second. Yes, we got output. Everything is capital letters, uppercase. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so this is about upper. So we need to apply, we can also apply the same thing for the lower. Okay, what we can do? So let me come down and let me click on the code and paste it over here. And what do? Here I'll go for lower. Here I'll just change the function name as lower. And let me click on execute. Okay, so we get error. Okay, we get error. What is that? We need to change the name. Okay, we need to change the name. Okay, let me click on execute. Now we got lower cases. Everything turns into lower cases. And what do? Let me click on the code again. So what is the next thing? So let us go for taking the, okay, log timestamp. Okay, log timestamp into the string data type. Okay, what is that? Let us go for taking. We have a column called as log timestamp. Okay, for the log timestamp, so make it into string into a proper timestamp. Okay, proper timestamp. So we have a column called as a log timestamp, which is in the string. So what do we do now? So we will make it into proper timestamp. So what do we do here? df underscore ADM. So we are getting what is that? The suggestions df underscore ADM dot with column. When we deal with the columns, we need to enter the column, open the bracket. Okay, we need to enter the column name log timestamp. Let me click on the tab. Okay, the column name log timestamp. Sorry. So what do? We have a column called as admission timestamp. Okay, so what do we have? We have a column called as admission. No, sorry. So we are trying to rename the log timestamp as admission timestamp. Okay, when we deal with column, so which is like we are adding a new column. Okay, this is the new column name, and we are trying to convert to timestamp. Okay, and selecting the column log timestamp. And what is the format that we are trying to convert? We are trying to convert into this data. Okay, this format. So before that, what do we need to do? So let us check what kind of a data that we have it over here. Okay, so let me go for taking, select only this column. So how do we select? If I want to see the column, select and open the bracket. And now we have log, I think, let me click on this and dot show. If you want to see only few columns, let me go for taking, considering only few columns, and let me click on OK. Now we will be able to see the timestamp. what we are able to see here, year, maybe this can be the month, and this is the day, and this is the time that we have. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to change this format into month, day, year. Okay, month, day, year, and this is as usual the time. Okay, this is as usual time. So now what do I do? So let me go for selecting this. Okay, let me put it over here. So okay, admission timestamp, and let me also take the log timestamp so that we can compare it. Okay, we can compare it before and after. Okay, why are we not getting admission timestamp? Is not a column in df underscore ADM. Did you mean admission type? Not admission type. Okay. The thing is that we are missing one thing, to timestamp. Okay, column. What we are trying to do, year, quarter, month. Okay, year, month, day format. Okay, yeah, it is the same thing. Okay, let us not select anything. So let me not select anything. Let me just go for click on show. Okay, let me just click on show and let me click on run. Let's see whether we get the columns or not. Okay, we are not able to get. What is the thing that we are not able to get? So that it is in the text and could not be passed at index 2. So use try to timestamp. Okay, so what is that? Df underscore ADM with column. So we are trying to give the column name as admission type, admission timestamp, and we are explaining this to change it into timestamp, and we gave the column, and we are trying to convert this into this format, but we are not able to convert this into this format. So what do we do now? So let me change. Okay, let me convert into some other format. Okay, let me change it into. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to convert that into another format. Let me close the bracket and let me click on show. Let's see whether it works or not. So what we are trying to do, so here we are trying to convert log timestamp is in the string data type. We are trying to convert it into date. Okay, to timestamp. We are trying to convert the string into to proper timestamp. So now we are not able to see anything. So what do I do? So we can directly go for selecting the columns. Okay, instead of taking directly show, let me go for select, open the bracket, timestamp, comma, log timestamp dot show, open the bracket and give only 5 columns. So let me click on run. Okay, now we got something like admission timestamp and log timestamp. Both of them look similar. So what do we do now? So we can go for print schema. Okay, we have the function called as print.schema or direct schema. Schema, print schema. Okay. So let me check. I think we have it at the beginning. Schema definition. Yes. So where is that? Yes, this one. df underscore. Okay. So what we can do at the end, we can directly paste it over here. Okay, at the end. So we will have the schema. Let me click on execute. So what do we get here? We get what is the schema for the admission timestamp and also log timestamp. So if you see here, okay, let me come down. So if you see, admission timestamp is turned into timestamp data type and log timestamp is in string data type. Okay, so this is how we tried comparing with the difference between the admission timestamp and log timestamp. So which was in the text, it is converted to the timestamp. Okay, so this is about the timestamp conversion. And what do we do? The next thing is that, let me click on the code again. The next thing, let us go for taking extracting the only date. Okay, so let us go for extracting only the date from the timestamp. Okay, so what do we do? Df underscore ADM equal to, okay, df underscore ADM, open the bracket, okay, with column, sorry, okay, dot with column, okay, let me click on tab, open the bracket, okay. So I think it may be hearing me. So it is giving us direct to straightforward, okay. What do I do? Let me go for admission, okay, date, okay. This is the new column that we are trying to give, comma. So what do we need to do? So we are trying to convert this, the timestamp, which is a combination of, okay, the timestamp. Let me write the comment. Oh, sorry. Okay, let me write the comment. Okay, what is that? Converting, okay, or extracting date from the timestamp, which is like, so timestamp is a combination of date and time, okay. So from the date and time, we are trying to extract only the date, okay. So df underscore ADM with column, admission date is the new column name, okay, admission date is the new column name. What is the function? Date underscore format, okay, date underscore format, open the bracket. So what is the column name that we need to give? Column, open the bracket, admission timestamp, okay, admission timestamp, okay, comma. What is the format of the date that we want to go for it? Okay, what is the format? YYY, okay, year, month, hyphen day, okay, day. Let me click on tab. So why we need to follow the standard, okay. Now if you see here, Y is in small letter, is in capital letter, month is in capital letter, DD is in small letter, okay. This is the format, okay, this is the format. We cannot do with the standards of the functionalities. Now what do we do? Df dot show, okay, let us only go for 5. Let me click on enter. Oh, sorry, df underscore ADM. Let me click on run this. Now, if you see, we got all the columns, but we do not want to see all the columns. What do we need to do? So let us see only 2 columns. What is that? Admission timestamp. Okay. So here, what do we do? Instead of direct select, okay, admission timestamp, comma. So the next thing is that admission date. Yes, the first column. Yes. Let me click on this. Let me take this off. Let me click on run. Okay. Now, if you see, we converted the admission timestamp into the date format. Okay. This is extracting the date. Okay. Extracting date. Let me go for the next one. Okay. So rounding. So let me click on this. So what is the next thing? So let us round the treatment. Okay. Round treatment cost. So why rounding the treatment cost? So before that, what do I do? Let us see what do we have in the treatment column. Okay, before we directly jump into rounding. So let me go for selecting the treatment. Okay, let me select the column name treatment. Okay, let me select the column name treatment. Let me take this off and click on run the cell. Now, if you see, we got the treatment column has 4353 and 2158. For example, if you want to go for rounding off only to 1 decimal, okay, so rounding off only to 1 decimal. So how does it work? Okay, rounding off. So how does it work? So let me go df underscore ADM. Okay, df underscore ADM dot with column. Okay, we need to enter the column name. Okay, what is that column name? So let me enter cost underscore rounded. Okay, cost underscore rounded. We use the function called as round function. Okay, open the bracket, column. What is the column name? The column name is treatment. Okay, the column name is treatment, comma. So what do we see? Comma. So we can enter round takes 2 parameters. What is that? Column, comma, how many number of decimals do we want to consider? Let me only go for taking 2. Okay, let me only go for taking 2. Let me click on escape. Only 1. Okay, let us go for taking only 1. A dot show. Let me directly take the show and go for only 3 columns, 3 records. Okay. So we are getting complete data. Okay. We are getting, okay, now we got it. Okay. Treatment cost. Okay. First one, we got only treatment cost. Let me take this off. Okay. Okay. What do? I will go for taking one more thing. Okay. DF underscore ADM equal to, the next thing is that, let me come down, DF underscore ADM, open the bracket. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Dot select. Okay. Yes, we got it. Now you see, let me click on the tab. Okay. This is what we are looking for. We are only trying to consider only 2 columns. Okay. Treatment cost and cost rounded. Okay. Let me click on run the cell. Okay. We got one error. What is that error? Dot select treatment cost rounded. None type object has select. Okay. Why? Select columns. No. Okay. Let me come. Yeah. Select. We have that. Dot select. Yes, we have the same column. Treatment underscore cost rounded dot show. Yes, that's right. Okay. Let me. Okay, let us not take this. Okay. So I think we understood what we are trying to do. Let me not take this. Let me take this off. And now let me run this. Okay. Indentation error. Don't worry. Indentation. Yes. Now we got. Okay. Let me come to the last one, last cell. And let me run this. Yes, now we got the data. Maybe what we are facing is, so if we have any timed out error, so that is the reason we are not able to get it. So now let me click on df underscore ADM dot show. Okay, dot show. Let me go for taking only first 3 records and click on OK. Okay. So we are getting many records, but we do not have it. But if you see, this is the cost 53. Okay. So what we got divided, but let me not. So let me come down. At the end, let me come down. Okay, we got the output, but the last one we did not get this. What is this called? The call was called from the command. One of the following is not. Okay. So what is that? We are getting error. We need to use import. Okay, this one. Okay, let me directly execute this. I think it is executed. Okay, let me execute again. Yes, it is executed. So what do we need to do? Let me click on show. Maybe when we got something like when we timed out error. Okay. So when we get some timed out error, so that is the reason we are not able to. Now we got it. Yes. Okay. Now we have got it. Okay. Now let's check. Okay. Now if you see what we did, maybe probably when we have the timed out error. Okay. So when the session is not able to connect, so that is the reason we got none type. So what we did, so we need to execute, run all the cells again. So previous data, whatever we have it, because in the previous session, we executed all the query, all the code. Today, we opened it freshly. So what do we need to do? We need to run previous cells also so that it understand, what the df underscore ADM has. Now, if you see what we did, So with column priority, priority is the name of the column, new column that we are assigning it to the conditional column. So when the status equal to critical, so make it as a high. When status equal to medium admitted, make it as a medium. Status equal to in treatment, medium, and otherwise low. And what we are trying to do, show 5 records. Okay, this is about the conditional column. So let us also go for one more function, one more condition. Okay, add a category. Okay, or add a cost category. Add a cost category. Okay, column based on the treatment. Okay, based on treatment cost. Okay, based on the treatment cost. So what we can do? So we can directly take a column called as cost category. So here what do I do? So df underscore ADM equal to df underscore, oh sorry, df underscore ADM equal to df underscore ADM dot, so with column, open the bracket. So here what do we need to do? So we need to enter the column name. Okay, cost category is the column name. So after that, what do we need to do? When, okay, when open the bracket, call, okay, when the column treatment, okay, when the column treatment greater than 1 lakh, okay, greater than 1 lakh, what do? We go for a premium. Okay, so make it as a premium. Okay, make it as a premium. The next thing is that, okay, the next thing is that, let me come down. Dot when, open the bracket. Okay, call, open the bracket. So what is the column name again? Treatment greater than, okay, 50,000. Greater than 50,000, make is high. Okay, make high. After that, okay, dot when, open the bracket, column, again open the bracket, treatment, okay, treatment greater than 20,000. Okay, make it medium. We know else condition. So what we can do in the else condition, dot otherwise make it low. Simple, straightforward. Okay, make it low. And after that, what we can do, we can select the columns that we need. Okay, df dot select, open the bracket. What kind of a columns we need? Admission ID. Yes, we need admission ID, comma. So we can go for the status, comma. So the next thing is that priority, priority, cost category, and also we will go for the treatment cost. Sorry, treatment cost. Okay, let me directly copy paste it. Where is that treatment cost? Treatment cost. Okay, so here also let me go for taking the priority. Where is that? Priority, make the P capital. And let me go for executing. Okay, unterminated string literal detected. Okay, okay, yes. At the end, we missed one single quote. Let me click on execute. So when we get the, okay, none type object has no attribute value with column, the same error that we are getting. So what do we need to do? We need to run again. Okay, from the beginning, let me run the Spark session. Okay, we are trying to do that. So let me click on run all. Okay, let's see whether it is running. Yes, it is running. Maybe when the session did not get updated, or when we have the unstable internet, or when the PySpark session timed out. So at that, in those situations, we get some errors. So what is that error? None type object. So if you get the error none type object with column or any imported functions, any imported columns, okay, so we need to understand that it is timed out. Okay, it is timed out. So let me come down. So I do not want to execute all. Let me come down. So at the end, let me directly run this. So we also have an option called as run all. Okay. So let me click on execute here. Okay, still we got the same error. What is that? ADM none type object has attribute, no attribute. But previous one it ran, but why it is not running in here? So let me click on execute. So still again we got. Let me click on run all. So let me run all. And also in the middle of the cells, what we did, we wrote something, some text information. Okay, some text information. So that is the reason we are not able to see. So let me click on execute. So let me click on run. So when you also do the same thing, you try running all before you work on the direct. Do not start from the last. Ah, still again. The last one got executed, but now here we are not able to see. This error might have been caught by Python type error. Okay. So you try this. You try this. I would like to skip this. Okay, you try this. I mean, the code, as per the syntax, it is right, but we are getting error. So let me check again. Okay, we are getting the same error. Let me skip this. Okay. Now let us go for okay, maybe indentation error. Indentation. Okay, let me put it down. Okay, let me do one thing. Let me just put it over here so that we can compare it. Okay. So df underscore with column, yeah, the same thing. Call status. Yes, it is the same. Okay, indentation. Okay, let me check. Will it shows Still it is the same thing. No, still it is the same thing. Let's see. I mean, if you are getting the output, yes, that's fine. That's good. Okay. Let me go for the next concept. So the next concept is, okay. So we can go for writing the conditional column based on with column, and we can enter the column name and we can go for the condition. So the way we have if else condition, we have when and otherwise. Okay, when and otherwise. So in SQL, we have case statements, case when, then else, end as. So it goes like that. So the next concept is group by. Okay, the next concept is group by. So the next concept is group by. So what do we need to do here in the group by? So if you take anything, okay, what is the concept of group by? So it is simply summarization of the data. Okay, summarization of the data. So what is summarization of the data? So if you see, when I say the region population, okay, the region population, what would you say? Which region? Okay, there are different types of region. Or if I go for saying the country population, you would say that 1.4, okay, 1.4 billion is the population of India. So out of that, okay, if I ask state-wise population, okay, state-wise population. So what do you say? Each and every state, okay, UP has 25 crores, okay, Telangana has 4 or 5 crores, okay. So you would say that each and every state-wise, okay, MP has 3 crores, something like that. If I go for the next level, so after the state, what do we have? We have the district, okay. In the district, what do you say? So each and every district, okay, each and every district, it has, what do you say, the population. When you hear anything, okay, in the interview, when you hear anything like each, okay, each, every, okay, summarization of the data, okay, always remember to use group by, okay, always remember to use group by. So group by, okay, so group by, we can't directly implement the group by, but group by is implemented, okay, the condition is like that group by is implemented when we use the aggregate functions, okay, aggregate functions. So what are all the aggregate functions that we have? Sum, minimum, maximum, average, count, okay, these are all the aggregate functions that we use when we use, okay, when we use group by, okay, definitely we should use the aggregate functions. Or when we use aggregate functions, both of them go hand in hand. When we use aggregate functions, okay, when we use aggregate function, okay, the next thing that we need to use is group by function. Or when we would like to group by, we need to use aggregate functions, okay. So now let me go for extracting, okay, importing all the aggregate functions, okay, from PySpark dot SQL.functions, import count, sum, average, min, max, round, and we also have another function called as count distinct. You see, count distinct. Okay. The first and foremost aggregate function that we are going to discuss is, in every programming language, the aggregate functions are most commonly used. Okay. Count admissions per hospital. Okay. When you hear the terminology, what is the terminology? Each, every, summarization, or you also see per. Okay. Per summarization of the data, we need to use the aggregate functions and also group by functions. Okay. So df underscore adm dot group by, we directly go for writing group, okay, by. The first, do not worry about the syntax. Okay. Understand Group is smaller letter, B is capital letter, Y is smaller letter. We need to enter it in the same way. Open the bracket. Okay, what do we need to do here? We can go for writing. We can go for writing. So the column name. What is the column name? Hospital name. Okay, hospital name. So what we are trying to do? Count admission per hospital. Okay, dot count. The function name is count. Okay, what we are trying to do? We are trying to group by hospital and count. Okay, we are trying to do group by hospital count. Let me go for the next line. So how do we go for the next line? We can go for the next line by clicking on the backslash dot order by. Here also is the same thing. Order is in small letter, B is in capital letter. Okay, how do we want to order the data? Okay, if for example, if you go for the population of the countries or population of the districts in India, but we also get, okay, do we want to see the highest populated districts or the states or the lowest? So what is the sorting of the data, ascending order or descending order? So here also we need to mention call. Okay, so what do we need to do? We can directly go for, okay, order by. We will go for count. Okay, order by the count. Okay, what is the format? Ascending order or descending order? Okay, order by count, whether it is an ascending order or descending order. Ascending equal to false. Okay, ascending equal to false dot show. Okay, show 5. Let us go with the number of records 5. Let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get output or not. So again, we got one error stating that. So we do not have the group by. Okay, let me go for taking df underscore ADM equal to. Okay, so let me not take. So let me put it over there directly. Okay, so let me click on execute, or let me remove this. Okay, click on execute. Okay, no group by. Okay, what is this error? So ADM dot group by. Okay, hospital name dot count dot order by. So we are taking the count by ascending order false, and we are directly opening the. Why are we not getting this? Okay, first let me check. First let me check the ADM. Okay, df underscore ADM dot show. Only 3 records. Okay, so probably df underscore. Let me go and see the sample data. Admission data. Let me click on execute. Yes, let me click on hospital. Okay, now let me come down at the end and let me click on execute this. Yes, now we got it. Now let me click on execute this. Yes, now we got it. So what we are able to see here? So we are able to see the group by data by hospital. So what is the count of hospitals? Okay, how many Apollo hospitals? How many Manipal hospitals? How many Max super specialty hospitals? Okay, what we are trying to do? Ascending equal to false. And if you see, show 5 records, but we can go for truncate equal to false. Okay, truncate equal to false. What is truncate equal to false? So we will get the complete data. Okay, let me click on execute. Okay, now you see Apollo multi-specialty hospital is 18. For example, if I do not give, okay, not equal to, or if I take this off, okay, let me take this off for now. Let's see whether it by default, whether it takes ascending order or not. Okay, now you see by default it is ascending order. When we want to get in the descending order from higher to lower, we need to explicitly mention that ascending equal to false. Similar thing in the SQL also, by default it is ascending order. Okay, when we go for order by, we go for what is the column that we want to order by. Okay, you remember what is the column that we want to order by? The numeric column count. Okay, and we will go for ascending equal to false and show. Okay, this is about group by the count of admissions. Okay, the count of admissions. Now let me go for the next code. Okay, what is the next code? So let us go for aggregating. Okay, let us go for aggregating, and also we will go for giving some aliasing. So here what do we do? So we will go for by aggregation per department. Okay, aggregation per department. So each and every department, what is the aggregation? How many number of the total admissions? Okay, let's see that. Let's see that. DF underscore, okay, department underscore summary equal to. So what we can do? DF underscore ADM dot group by ADM dot group by. Yes, we are able to see the suggestions. Open the bracket. So what do we need to do? Department. Okay, we are focusing now on department. Department dot aggregate. Open the bracket. Okay, what we are trying to do? Aggregating count of admission ID. Okay, count of admission ID. Okay, dot we can go for giving the alias name. Alias. Okay, total admissions. Okay, count of admission ID is the total admissions. Total admissions. Okay, the next thing is that we will also go for comma, enter. So what we can do here, let me go for count to distinct. Okay, so count to distinct. Let me come down. So count to distinct. What is the error that we are getting? So is there anything like alias? Okay, df underscore ADM group by. Yes, open the bracket, close the bracket, aggregate. Okay, count admission ID dot alias total admissions. Okay, yes, that's right. And count to distinct. Okay, count to distinct, open the bracket. So here we can go for patient ID. Okay, patient ID dot unique patients. Okay, why? So it shouldn't be taking the duplicate of the patient IDs. Okay, so that is the reason what we are trying to do. We are trying to take the count to distinct. Okay, alias we can go for unique patients. Unique patients. Okay, unique patients, comma. So what is the next thing? Count. Okay, so here we are writing, here we are directly implementing some conditional column. Okay, so here let us implement the conditional column. So count when. Okay, patient ID. Okay, count when patient ID dot alias okay, unique patients. So let me take unique patient. Okay, so what is the next thing that we can do? So count when. Oh, sorry. Okay, so here it is not the patient ID. So we will go for taking the status. Okay, here we will go for taking the status. Close the bracket. Okay, equal to critical. Okay, equal to critical. Then make it 1. Okay, equal to critical. Make it 1 and give the naming as critical cases. Okay, we can go for taking alias. So we can give critical cases. Okay, and the next one. Again, we can go for taking one more condition, count. Okay, when. Okay, let me copy from the first thing only. Okay, let me go for this. Okay, let me paste it over here. Okay, let me paste it over here. What is the next thing? So we can go for, okay, if you want, we can go for it. Okay, if you not want, let me take this off. Okay, let me take this off. Okay, so here we only consider the first topmost thing only. What we are trying to consider here, status equal to critical and admission type equal to emergency. Okay, we only take the priority one. So let me go for count when admission type. Okay, when admission type. Okay, when admission type equal to emergency. Then what do? We go for 1 and dot alias. Okay, dot alias. Okay, what we can do? We can give the name like emergencies Okay, we can give the name like emergencies. Okay, so we are directly getting the suggestions. Okay, what we can do, if you want some average minimum, we can go for clicking on the. Okay, let me click on the tab. Okay, let me click on the tab. So what we are trying to do here, we are trying to take the sum of treatment as the treatment cost, average of the treatment as average cost, minimum treatment, maximum treatment, and round the length of days to average length of stay. So how many patients stayed for the max for the critical cases, for the emergency admissions. So the patient, how long the patient stayed in the hospital. Okay, how long the patient stayed in the hospital, and also length of days, total number of days, and we can go for looking at this. Okay, let me take this off average. Let me take this aggregation and let me click on run. Oh, we will get error. Let me take this off and let me click on run. Okay, one missing value. Oh, what is that? Case when status equal to critical. Count of when. Okay, let me go for taking the call. Let me close the bracket. Yeah. So let me click on enter again. Maybe count also we get the same error. Yeah. So let me get the same thing. Call over here. All, and at the end, let me close the bracket. Are we getting any error? Well, let me click on execute. Okay. So we need to close this. Okay. Now let me click on execute. Yes. Now we got the data. So what we are trying to do here. So we got the orthopedics. The total admissions are 6. Unique patients are 6. And critical cases, yes, 1 cases. Out of 6 admissions, 1 is a critical case. Okay, out of 6 admissions, 1 is a critical case. For the pediatrist, out of 7, 7 unique, 1 is a critical. So if I go for cardiology, out of 12 patients in the cardiology, okay, 2 are critical cases. What is the condition for critical cases? So if the status equal to 1, make it as a critical case. If the admission type is emergency, then make it 1. Okay, emergency admission. Okay, do we have emergency admission? Okay, we are not able to see emergency. Okay, so we are not able to see all the data, but we are able to see what is the critical cases and all. Or if you want to see all, we can also select the number of columns that we want to see. Okay, so we can select the number of columns that we can see. Okay, but why are we not able to get all the cost and all? df dot department summary show why. Okay, let me click on execute. So we are only able to see the 4 columns only. Why? Till critical cases. What about after the critical cases? What are we missing? Okay, let me do one thing. Let me also import the same thing over here. Maybe this causing the issue? No, still it is the same thing. Why? Minimum, okay. Till here we are getting the output. But what about others? Do we need to maintain the comma? Are we missing the comma? Okay, let me put the comma. Let me click on execute. Space missing before 8th line. Which one? This one? Okay, let me check. Okay, still we are getting the same thing. Okay, let me do one thing. Okay, let me reshare my screen. I'm sorry. Okay, so now we got. So maybe we are doing some mistake. Okay, so what we are trying to do, count distinct patient ID as the unique patients. Okay, so here we are implementing the conditional column. Okay, when column status equal to critical, make it 1 and only show the critical cases. So this means only show the critical cases. So count admission type only emergencies. Okay, critical cases also emergencies. And round. Okay, what we are trying to do, average cost. Okay, sum of the cost, total revenue, and order by total admissions in the ascending order. Now, if you see the cardiology, total admissions are 12, unique patients are 12, and critical cases are 2 out of 12 cardio total admissions. Emergencies are 6. Okay, so critical cases are 2, emergencies are 6. And what is the average cost? 57,000. And total revenue 69,000 that they have earned from the cardiology. And the next one is nephrology. So if you see 12 total admissions, unique admissions are also 12, sorry, 11, and critical cases 2, and emergencies are 5. So if I see order by total admissions, but if you want to see the total revenue, yes, we can put total revenue INR. Okay, we can also see the data by total revenue INR. Okay, now if you see, so now we can see that total admissions are 11, even though the total admissions are lower, but total revenue is higher. Okay, this is how we can calculate, we can implement the group by condition. So whenever you see the condition, okay, in your interview or in the interview, mainly in the interview, written test, okay, when they ask you to write the code in the SQL or in the PySpark, when you hear something like each, every, or per, okay, per something, for per department or per country, okay, by country, okay, country wise sales, something like that, what do you need to do? So you need to use the aggregate functions. And when you use the aggregate functions, you need to remember that you need to use group by. Okay, so what we are trying to do here, group by department, aggregate. Okay, we are using the function aggregate, count of admission ID. Okay, we are giving the name admission ID as total admissions, and count distinct patient ID, we are giving the name as unique patients. And the next thing is that we are trying to do status equal to critical, make it as 1, and rename this as critical cases. When the admission type equal to emergency, make it emergencies. And the next one is we are trying to take the average of treatment cost, sum of treatment cost as the total revenue. And now the next thing is that order by, what is the column that we want to order by, and show this. Okay, so this is about the with column and when column. Now we are going to discuss about the concept called as a joins. Okay, so in every programming language we have the joins. So here we have a concept called as, so if you take, we know we will cover those concepts in the sequel. So here we have a concept like the join conditions. Okay, joins. So why do we need to use the joins? So there are the tables in the database are divided into 2 types. Okay, we have like dimension tables. So which contains the descriptive information. So what is the descriptive information? And also we have a fact table that contains the measurable values. Okay, I can simply say measurable values or quantities or units sold. Okay, or any metrics or any parameters. Okay, so dimension table contains the descriptive information. So which is, we can go for customer table, which contains the customer details. Okay, which contains the customer details. So we can also go for the product table. The product table contains the product information. Product information. So what do we have in the customer table? We have the customer ID, customer name, customer state, customer address. Okay, these are all information that we have it in the customer ID, customer table information. So we can enter the customer ID 001 and the customer name some name John, and the customer state we can go for taking Ohio, and address we can go for taking some avenue. Okay, something like this avenue. So when we log in into any e-commerce platform, okay, when we log in into any e-commerce platform, so what does it ask? The first thing is we log into that, we sign up. So we enter our details. Okay, what do we do? Enter the details. Okay, once we log in, once we sign up successfully, what does it say? What does it say on the screen? So welcome, John. Okay, welcome, John. Thank you for signing. So in the front end, you are called by the name John or whatever the name that you give. But in the backend, the John is called by the customer ID. Okay, the John is called by the customer ID. And we also have the product details. The product details contains the product ID, product inventory, and some product details. So what can we have it in the product ID? P001, P001. The product inventory that is coming from the New York. Okay, product details, whether it can be a iPhone, iPad, or whatever it is. Okay, so this is what in the dimension table. When we consider the fact table, okay, when we consider the fact table, so fact table contains, okay, dimension table contains, what do we have in the dimension table? Always remember, dimension table contains primary key. Okay, dimension table contains primary key. So what is a primary key again? So primary key is a uniquely identification key. Okay, uniquely identification of each and every row. Okay, of each and every row in the table. In the table, each row is identified by one key, whatever it is. Okay, whatever the key it is a code or key, any number. Okay, any number or serial number, anything. Okay, each and every row is identified by one key. So that is primary key. So in the dimension tables, customer table, or in the product table, so what do we have? We have the primary key. Okay, we would have the primary key. And if we go for the fact table, so what do we have in the fact table? The fact table contains, okay, fact table contains, yes, fact table also contains the same thing: customer ID, product ID, transaction ID, okay, amount, okay, quantity, price, okay, quantity, price, discount, okay, quantity, price, discount, all this information, date, order date, okay, order date. So all this information will be in the fact table. For example, John, okay, John is the customer. Okay, so when John ordered a product called as a iPhone. Okay, John ordered a product iPhone P001 and transaction ID, for example, T001, and the quantity is three quantities. He ordered iPhone 3, okay, three iPhones, and the price is, for example, $1,000, and he got some discount of 10%. Okay, so he got a discount of 10%, and the order date is, for example, 14/04/2026. Okay, 14/04/2026. The same John, okay, tomorrow. Just a second. So tomorrow, the same John, okay, the same John wanted to buy some other product. Okay, when he tried ordering some other product, Okay, any e-commerce, okay, 001, customer 001, P002, okay, transaction T002, and the quantities are 4. So here he wants to buy some other gadget, okay, AC for example, and he got the discount of 20%, and the order date is 15/04/2026. Okay, whenever John is trying, I mean, in the customer table already it is defined. Okay, when customer on the next day when he is trying to order something from the same e-commerce, okay, in the dimension table, okay, in the dimension table, the second line or the second time the data will not be entered. Okay, remember this concept. When when John is trying to order something again the next day, so it doesn't mean that this data will not be entered in the customer table. Okay, if someone is trying to order the same product again, okay, I am the John, okay, some other Johnson, okay, Johnny is trying to order the same product P001, it doesn't mean that it is going to get duplicated. Okay, it doesn't mean that it is going to get duplicated. So fact table is a transactional table. Okay, what is that? Fact table is a transactional table. So dimension table, what is the dimension table? Dimension table has the descriptive information. Descriptive information, okay, of the fact table. Of the fact table. Okay, so each and every row is identified by primary key. Okay, it contains PK, primary key. The next one is fact table contains the transactional information. Transactional information. What do we have in the transactional information? All the transactions. Amount, credit, debit, quantity, price, unit sold, any parameters, metrics. Okay, these are all information in the transaction data. And what do we have in here? Here we have the foreign keys. Okay, what does it mean? Foreign key refers primary key. Okay, foreign key refers primary key. So in general, in the organization also, so the tables are being arranged in such a way that descriptive information should go to the dimension table, transactional information should go to the any sales, revenue tables, okay, order tables, or any accounts tables. So all this table contains the transactional information. So how do we join? What is the usage of join? Okay, by using joins. Okay, by using joins, what do? We join. Okay, we join fact table with the dimension table Okay, how do we join? How we join it on the foreign key. Okay, foreign key and primary key Okay, how do we join? We join. So the how is like join type. Okay, how is join type. Okay, so where do we join? Okay, what is the column that we take? On is a primary key or foreign key. Okay, on primary key or foreign key. So this is how we join. On primary key, or what is the common column between two tables, and how, which is like a join kind. Whether we go for an inner join. Okay, now let us see what are all the joins that we have. Okay, this is about the dimension table and fact table. Now let us see what are all the joins that we have. Okay, the first and foremost join is left outer join. Okay, left outer join. What is the definition of left outer join? All the records from the first table or table A, okay, or table A or left table, and matching records from right table, table B, or right query. Okay, write query. So this is left outer join. So what does it mean? What does it mean? So if you remember from our college days, okay, we have some diagrams. Okay, we will see that. We will see about the diagrams once we complete the definitions. Okay, the next one is right outer join. Okay, right outer join. So it is just vice versa of the left outer join. Okay, so what do? We go for just changing all records from the right table. Okay, all records from the second table or table B. Okay, or table B or right table, and matching records from the left table. Left table or table A or left query. So this is right outer join. Next join is inner join. So what is inner join? Only matching records from both tables. From both tables. Okay, so we have a concept when we were in school days, A intersection B. Okay, A intersection B. We have something like, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, intersection. We also have like 3, 4, 5, and close the bracket. So what is the output? 4, 5, 3, 4 is the common column between common data in between two. What do you say? Two lists. Okay, we get the output 3, 4. Next one is full outer join. Okay, next one is full outer join. So what do we have in the full outer join? It is just like union. Okay, all records from both tables. Okay, if the data is in matching, if the data is not matching, then we will see the nulls. We will see nulls. Okay, so this is about the joins. So if you consider, okay, if you consider the diagram, for example. So what do we have in the diagram? If you see, so we have something like this, A. So this is B. And when we go for taking left outer join, okay, what is that? A and B. If you see the list, okay, so what is that? All records from the left table. Okay, all records from the left table. And matching records from the, okay, only matching records. Okay, whatever are matching, so we get the data. So this is what? A left outer join. And if you go for right outer join, okay, same thing, right outer join. All records from the right table and only matching records from the left table. Okay, so this is. Or if I go for inner join, okay, if I go for inner join, so what we are going to see? So we are going to see only matching records. So what are all the matching records? So okay, this is the matching records. Only matching records from two tables. And also we see the, so it is just like A intersection B. Okay, so in the full outer join, A union B. Okay, A union B. So this is what we have it in the joins. Let us jump into the practical. So how do we implement? Okay, so how do we implement the joins? Let us see that. The first and foremost thing is that, okay, let us implement for now. Let us implement. We will see in the practical, in the case study, we will see that. Okay, inner join. Okay, let me go for inner join. So what we need to do? Only admission where hospital ID is exist. Okay, only admission where hospital ID exists in the hospitals. For example, if you take, okay, we want to go for bringing. Okay, we can consider taking. Okay, we can consider taking. For example, I want to join two tables. What is that? DF underscore. Okay, DF underscore admission, and also I want to join another table called as a we can go for hospital table. Okay, we can go for hospital table. Okay, so what do we want to pull from the hospital table? So we can pull. Okay, let me do one thing. First of all, let us see what do we have in the df underscore adm admission table. What do we have? And also let me consider only three. And df underscore hospital. What do we have? Okay, so we will get to know what we can pull from these two tables. Let me click on execute. Okay. So no longer the ID generate a new session ID of oh, session ended. Let me refresh. The session is ended. That is the reason I asked for 10 minutes after to connect. But the thing is that I executed all, but now it's still showing the same. So let me click on the execute again. Okay, no active session. Okay, let me go for server. Okay, we can do one thing. We can go for taking one more. Okay, let me copy this. Yes, it is running. Yes, let me also run the other also. Let me click on this. So when we work on the joins, it would be useful. Yes, it is running. Yeah. Now let me click on code. So what do we need to implement? So let us go for inner join. Okay. So let's see what do we have in the admission and hospital data. So before we directly implement the joins, let me go for admission and hospital data. Yes, of course, our hospital data has hospital table would have the hospital data, admission data would have the information about the admissions, patient admissions. But let's see. So how can we join and all? Let us see that. Let us only just run top three records. And let me click on execute. Okay. So now what do we see here? We are able to see the admission information. Hospital ID in the hospital data, we are able to see the hospital name, city, state type. Okay, city, state type. So what we can do, we can get city, state type. Okay, we can bring the city, state type, and rating from the hospital table. Okay, from the hospital table, we can bring that. So how do we join? What is the common column between these two tables? Hospital ID. So if you see hospital ID is in the admissions, okay, and hospital ID is in the hospital table. And if you observe H001, yes, we have H001, H002, yes, we have H002. So based on the primary key, foreign keys, or based on the common column between these two tables, we can bring that. Don't worry that we are joining two dimension tables. Don't worry about that. But if you see hospital information, we also have the rating data and beds available and total number of beds. So consider it like semi-fact table. Okay, it is like semi-fact table. So what we can do, we can pull based on the hospital ID. Okay, based on the hospital ID. So we can pull the city. Okay, city, state, type, and rating. Okay, from hospital table. So we can pull it from the hospital table. Now let us see how do we join this. Okay, df underscore hospital, sorry, df underscore with hospital. Okay, df underscore with hospital. So what do we need to do? Df underscore ADM. Okay, df underscore ADM dot. So what we are trying to do? We are trying to join the tables. Okay, so let me write join. Okay, let me write join. Open the bracket. Okay, open the bracket. So let me go for what is the table that we want to join. Okay, so table that we want to join. Open the bracket. What is the table? df underscore hospital is the table name that we want to join. Okay, df underscore hospital is the table that we want to join. The next thing is that how do we join? Okay, what is the column that we want to join? So we want to join it on the hospital ID. In the SQL, what do we do? Left outer join, fact table equal to dimension table. Okay, fact table, dimension table. And what do we do? The next thing on equal to, here what do we do? Hospital ID, comma. Okay, comma. So in the SQL, what do we do? left outer join. We specifically mention left outer join. But here what do? We write how equal to inner. Okay, how equal to inner. Okay, close the bracket. Okay, what we are trying to do here? So we are trying to join the table hospital. How do we want to join? On which column do we want to join? On hospital ID. What is the join condition? How? Inner join. Okay, general English language. Okay, so what do we need to do here? So we can select the columns that we want to see. df underscore with hospital. Okay, we can select the columns. Okay, let me click on the tab directly. So we are able to see. So what are all the columns that we want to bring? Hospital ID, hospital name, city, state, type, rating. Okay, we want to see all these columns. So let me click on execute and let's see whether we get the output or not. Okay, so we got hospital name is ambiguous. Okay, what it is saying? Hospital name is ambiguous. Why hospital name is ambiguous? Okay, so if you remember from the SQL, okay, so there are, for example, so HR called what is that? HR called the name, for example, John. So he came to the floor and he called John. Okay, so two Johns stood. Okay, two Johns stood. Okay, from different cubicles. Okay, different cubicles or from different cabins. Okay, so HR said, I want to see the John from IT team. Okay, HR again said, I want to see John from IT team. John from IT team. Then one John, he sat down, and another John, he went to meet. Another John from the IT team, he went to meet HR. Okay, what do we understand? So if the HR know John, the surname or the first name or the last name of John, okay, he would have called by the last name John. Okay, Mitchell Johnson or John Grisham, something like that. Okay, so if he know that John Grisham, yes, he would have called by the full name, but he know the first name and he called John, and two John stood up and he said, no, I want to see the John from IT team. Then one John, he just went off and he met HR. So here also what it is saying, hospital name is ambiguous. What does it mean? Hospital name is existing in the admission. Okay, if you see, hospital name is existing in the admission table and also hospital name existing in the hospital table. So what it is saying, can you please pull the column, which table hospital name that I want to get? Okay, it is saying that. So what do we need to mention here? So we need to mention df underscore, okay, df underscore adm. Okay, df underscore adm. So we are explicitly saying that I want to see the data from the admission table. Okay, now if you see hospital ID, hospital name, what is the city, state, type, and rating. And if you see, yeah, show, let me go for, okay, no problem, no problem. So if you see Apollo Multi-Speciality Hospital from Hyderabad got 4.7 rating. Okay, Fortis got 3.9 rating. Okay, so if you also want to go for order by, so we can also go for order by. Okay, order by. So what is the column name? So we can go for the column name rating. Okay, comma. So we can go for ascending or descending. Okay, so we have something called as ascending, descending. Let me check what is the ascending or descending. Yeah, ascending equal to false. Okay, we need to go for ascending equal to false, comma. Okay, ascending equal to false. Okay, we need to close the bracket. Dot show. Okay, now let me click on execute. Now what we are able to see? Yes, now we are able to see the ascending from the top. Okay, we were saying, okay, 4.7 rating. Okay, 3 hospital got 4.7 rating. Okay, it is getting repeated. You can ignore that. Okay, it is getting repeated. You can ignore that based on the data. Okay, so we are getting it. Don't worry about the data. So this is how we join. Okay, what is the type of the join? Inner join. So how we are joining? On the hospital ID. Okay, what we are selecting, get the hospital from the admission, hospital name from the admission. So this is inner join. Okay, this is inner join. So if you also want to get, okay, if you also want to join more than two tables, okay, join more than two tables. Okay, how do we join? Okay, we can join it by using df underscore. For example, let me join. The first thing is that, okay, join admissions with the doctors. Okay, with the doctors on doctor ID, for example. Okay, with the doctor ID. So let me go for df1 equal to. So what we can do, we can go for df underscore adm, open the bracket. Okay, sorry, we are trying to join. So let me go for dot join, open the bracket. So here we are able to see what is the join condition. Okay, df underscore doc on doctor ID, how inner join. But we do not want to go for the inner join. For now, let me click on tab. Okay, in place of inner join, let me go for left outer join. Okay, left outer join. The next thing is that, so let us join. Let me take this off. Okay, so next thing is that we want to get, okay, join the same thing. Okay, join the same on patient data. Okay, patient table. Okay, so by this, what we can do, okay, doctors treating patients, we get to know, so which doctor is treating what kind of a patient's information. Okay, from different states. For example, if you go for from different states, yes, we will get it. Okay, the next thing is that what we can do, so we can go for df. Okay, let me take this off. Okay, let me take this off. So let me go for df2. Okay, equal to, so df1 dot join. Okay, so what we are trying to join, we are trying to join with df patients. Okay, let me open that, df underscore pat comma. So if you want to select the columns, yes, we can select the columns. Okay, so I want to see the particular column. Okay, I do not want to select all the columns. If you want to select the particular columns, what we can do, we can go for select columns. Okay, select patient ID, comma, patient name. Okay, here we are mentioning the column names, patient name, comma, age, comma. So we can select the gender, comma. So we can select the city. Okay, so here what we can do, we can close the bracket. Here we have selected the columns. Okay, in the joins we have selecting the columns. Now what do we need to do? We need to go for joining. How do we join? On patient ID. And what is the, how we need to join? Left outer join. Okay, what do we need to join? Left outer join. So let me take this off. Okay, let me take this off. Now what do we need to do? So here we can go for df underscore df3. Okay, df3 dot. Okay, df3 dot. So here we can select the column names. Okay, what we are trying to do here, we can select the column names. So we are joining with the admission table. Okay, doctors table, admission table. We are joining with the doctors table, and we are joining again with the patient table. So there would be like multiple columns available in these three tables, but we do not want to go for selecting all the columns. What we can do, we can select particular columns. Okay, here if you see, we are getting the suggestions. Okay, so let me ignore the suggestions, only select the particular columns. Let me open the bracket. So here let me go for selecting the admission. Okay, admission. Okay, admission ID. Yeah, let me go for the tab, patient name, age, gender. Okay, so here we have the department. Department is existing in both tables. Okay, so let me go for df underscore adm, open the bracket, open these brackets, and also close the bracket. Okay, The next thing is that if you also want to see some other doctor's name, yes, it is included. And the next thing is that let me go for taking the status. Status. The last one is treatment cost. Okay, treatment cost underscore INR. Okay, so now what we see, so we can go for dot show. So let me go for taking only 3 records. Okay, only 3 records, or let me ignore this. So here we are getting error df3 dot select. Okay, not df3, df2. Okay, so let me click on execute. Okay, now if you see, we are able to see all the data. So admission ID, patient name, what is the age, gender, city, hospital name. I mean, which is like which patient, okay, joined in which hospital, who treated, and what is the department, what is the status, and how much this patient Lakshmi has paid. Okay, she paid 1 lakh. And the next one is another patient, so who joined in the Max Cure, Max Super Specialty Hospital, and she paid this amount. So now if you see, we have all the data. So what did we do? By using the left outer join, we combined the admission table, we combined with the patient table, and in the patient, we are only selecting these set of columns. So in SQL, what do? We join, we just mention, we give the alias name and select the columns. Okay, so what we are explicitly in the join itself, we are trying to mention the column names and how do we join, which column we are joining, and what is the type of the join type. And the next one, we are trying to select df underscore df2 dot select. Okay, from these two, we are trying to select the columns. Okay, yes, we did. Okay, yes, we did. But what is the next thing that we need to do? So let me go for the code. Okay, what is the next thing? So we can go for creating the views. Okay, we can create the views, or we can also go for taking, write all these into the tables. Okay, write all these into the tables. So let me, okay. So let's directly go for writing the data. Okay, write these into the tables, into delta tables. Okay, delta tables. So let me go for writing. So what we can do? So let me go for from PySpark dot functions, PySpark dot SQL dot functions, SQL dot functions import call. Okay. So what is the thing that we need to do? So here we can select particular columns. Okay. Here we can select particular columns. So let me go for selecting particular columns, and we can remove the particular duplicate columns. Okay. So let me go for df underscore doctor equal to df underscore from the doctor table. Let me only select a few columns. Okay. So we can go for doctor ID, comma, doctor name, doctor name. Okay. And the next one is experience, comma, experience. Let me select only the experience. We do not want to see all the columns. So let me go for the next step is that let me go for combining it with, okay, df underscore. Okay. So let me go for df2. Okay. Let me give the name as df2. So let me join with, okay, admission with doctor table. Okay. df underscore adm dot join. Okay. So df underscore doc, df underscore doc, comma. So how do we join? On equal to doctor ID, comma. How do we join? We can join it with left. Left. Okay. So here we can select the number of columns that we want to see. df, okay, df2 dot, we can select the columns. Okay. Whatever the columns that we want to see, we can select the columns. Okay. Whatever the columns that we want to see, we can select the columns, but let me go for saving it directly. I do not want to take all the columns. I do not want to select it, but let me click on running this. Okay. Let me click on running this. Let's see whether we get it or not. Okay, we got it. Now what do I do? So let me write the same data to the delta table. Okay, I do not want to take all the columns. I do not want to join all the tables and write it at once. Okay, what is our main agenda? The main agenda is to join all these three tables. Okay, five tables. Okay, we want to join five tables. In the medallion architecture also, we do the same thing when we try to push the silver layer into the gold layer. So mainly silver layer is used for dealing with the joins. Okay, mainly silver layer is used for dealing with the join. So let me not take much time. So let me copy this. Okay, let me directly show it over here. So what we are trying to do. So here we are trying to select the columns from the doctors table. Okay. The next thing is that we are trying to join based on the doctor ID. Okay. And what is the next step we are doing? We are whatever it is joined. Okay. These data, we are trying to join it with the patient data. And the next one is we are trying to save these columns. Okay. And we are trying to save this into the delta table. How do we save? So write. Okay, what is the format? Delta. So what is the mode? Override. Okay, when there is a duplicate data, it will not allow. And what is the option? Is header equal to true? And what is the name of the table? Full admission view. And we will save select star from. Okay, we will save something like this. Let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Yes, now the data is saved. Okay, now the data is saved. Let me check it in the catalog. Okay, so let me check under the samples. No, let me check it in the workspace only. Okay, we can search. I think we can search by the name. Let me search. Yes, now we are able to see in the default, we have the table. Okay, in the default, we have the table. What? Let me push it over here. Okay, so table, yes, we have that workspace default to view. Okay, now we are able to see the data. Okay, the table. So what we can do, we can directly run this. Okay, select the star from the view. Okay, select the star from the full admission. Okay, let's see that. Select the star from what is the name? Full admission view. Let me click on execute. Let's see whether we get the output or not. Yes, it is running. Yes, now we are able to see the data. Okay, admission, patient name, age, gender, doctor, department status, and how much amount that the patient is paid. Okay, this is the flow in and around in the project in the real time and all. So what did we do? We read all the tables, and after that we made necessary changes, necessary cleaning, necessary selection of the only particular columns, and after that we joined all the tables. And once we joined, yes, these are all the columns that is being expected by the clients. Then we moved the same table into the delta format because PySpark or in the Databricks, the tables are accepted in the format of delta tables. Okay, the way we have .csv, .excel, .pbix, .sql in Fabric or in the Databricks, the format is delta. Okay, after joining all the tables, what we did, we wrote, okay, we saved the data in the delta format. Okay, this is about, okay, this is about the PySpark session.